All right, just I'm gonna try to mute my mic whenever I'm having like a coughing fit because I'm sick, so that it doesn't really,
Yeah,
get into the recording.
yeah, yeah. You don't want to get any of our listeners sick, dude.
Yeah, we have to
Um,
look. We have to look out for our listeners.
yeah,
Welcome back, everybody, to Film Tangents. Uh, this is the return. What's the name of that song? The Return of the Mac. Return. This is the return of Film Tangents. The second half of the 2025 season. So we're back and we're better than ever because we fired Jack at a popular. It was all the comments, it was a very like highly demanded thing. Everybody, we were getting hundreds of fan mail, hundreds of calls to our manager, hundreds of texts
yeah,
and messages in the comments. Like it was just a lot, in our Reddits, in our subreddit, people were just having like a vote the worst Film Tangents member, and Jack kept coming out on top, followed by me and then Jake for whatever reason.
yeah,
Um, and so we have made a very difficult decision. we
yeah,
have we have made a very difficult decision of just letting Jack go. So we're back
yeah. We've
to
closed the Jack file.
we're back to we're
Yeah,
back to just me, Jake, and Edward. And if you go back to any old episode, and by that I mean like any episode before this one, um, and particularly like the first half of the 2025, and then also part of the 2024 season, in which Jack became like a regular member. We'll delete. We haven't deleted those episodes, but we've gone back and edited them. So now, if you go back to those episodes, certain ones are just empty. There's no dialogue when Jack's supposed to be talking. So we've done that just to help you guys. And also,
sounds like we're talking to ourselves.
yeah, there's just silence. And then also, there's some episodes in which we've edited his voice to be Kermit the Frog. So you're welcome. Go back and check those
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think the problem is with
out. And to do
incels is that women. I think the problem is women. Get your bloody life in order and clean up your room. Oh, wait, that's not Kermit, is it?
No, that sounds more like what's his name? Kermit Peterson. Kermit the Frog's
Yeah,
cousin.
Dr. Kermit Peterson.
Dr. Kermit Peterson.
In all seriousness, I did think it would be funny since Jack's going to be in absentia a little more now
Yeah.
because of his travel schedule. I thought it would be funny to create like I don't know if I'm going to get around to this, but to create like a soundboard that's just like different Jack, like Jack saying yes,
That would be
no, or
great.
his laugh.
That would be
or
all.
whatever.
That would be awesome. We have to. Now you have to do it, dude.
I know now everybody's gonna be expecting it.
Now you
Dude.
have to sit Jack down and get him to record a bunch of like little audio snippets, and we have to do
I
that.
can just get it from past episodes.
That sounds like too much work. That sounds like more work than just
Uh,
having Jack. Just be like, Jack, just say a few of Jack liners, and then we'll
Jack.
use them.
Yeah, yeah.
In all seriousness, if it didn't, if it wasn't obvious, no, Jack is just Jack will just be absent from this episode, and maybe some other ones in the future as it goes. But he's still a regular member of the show. We have
Yeah.
not.
He may
fired him.
he may be back to recurring just because of his he's a working man,
Yeah,
it's working man's world.
he is a working man. But he, we haven't fired him yet. But
Right.
just stay on the lookout, on our subreddit, or if for some reason you're looking for our subreddit and it's not there, just create it. Listener, and on our
Yeah,
subreddit,
yeah, exactly.
we'll post an ad looking for a third guy, and if you ever see that, just know that Jack might be on his way out. That being said, welcome back. It's
It's
Film
not off
Tangents.
the table.
Not off the table. Welcome back. It's Film Tangents. I hope you guys missed us. Um, as always, there will be timestamps in the description, just below the like button and the subscribe button. And sometimes you have to like and subscribe before you can access the description of the video. So just a heads up to like and subscribe, and follow us on Apple Podcasts and a bunch of other places because we exist and we're there. But we're back, and this is Spider-Man 2 week Anything that you wanna follow up with, Jake, before we talk about Spidey?
I guess I'll tease a few things that we'll probably talk about after, but I saw Weapons last night.
Yes, we're gonna talk about all
Zach
that stuff.
Cregger. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. And Brock Lesnar's back in WWE.
He is back.
So that's
in
pretty
WWE.
cool.
Yeah.
Let's do
This.
this.
I want to talk about that too.
Yeah.
I wanna go a little bit over Brock being back, but
Yeah.
everybody, let's talk about Spider-Man 2, which is interestingly enough being re-released this weekend. We are recording this episode on the Thursday before the Friday when Spider-Man, the first one, is going to be in theaters. Because they're doing it like basically the whole weekend. Like Friday is Spider-Man 2002, and then Saturday, Spider-Man 2, which I believe is also like an extended cut of Spider-Man 2. I think they added like a scene. I'm not sure what. Do you know what it is?
I have no idea, but I did hear it was an extended. It was like the director's cut or whatever.
Yeah, they're calling it Spider-Man 2.0, so there has some kind of like extra footage in there. And then
including Harry slapping Peter a fourth time.
or yeah, right.
Yeah, that's in the director's cut.
I love that. I love that scene so much. And also it's Spider-Man 3 on Sunday. Which don't
Hell
worry,
yeah.
listener, we will get to Spider-Man 3. And when we get to Spider-Man 3, it'll be the three of us here for sure to talk about Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, one of us will be Sandman, one of us will be Venom, and one of us will be Green Goblin Jr.
Yeah. What's the name of it? Is that one the Hobgoblin? What is that one?
What, Harry's Goblin?
Yeah.
I think it's the official name. I think is New Goblin because he's not the Hobgoblin. It's not yeah. He has like I think if I'm not mistaken in that scene where he's like coming out of the super soldier gas tank or whatever, like he's beefing himself up. He's putting the Green Goblin those Goblin roids in his
screen roids
in his system. You could see like a Hobgoblin mask, but he never uses it. Which I always thought that was a little weird in that movie. Like he didn't have a goblin mask.
He doesn't
like,
have one. He's
why?
just like wearing like goggles, right, or something like that.
Yeah.
It's pretty lame.
And it's like, all right, you're not really a goblin now, are you?
No, and it's so clear. Like it's just you. It's just you. You're just Harry. But whatever.
That'd be funny if in Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3, there's like an alternate sequence where like the cops knock on his door and they're just like, "Sir, we have footage from 20 blocks of the city of like 15 different traffic cams, 3 different store security cameras of you flying around on this on this unauthorized glider trying to kill Spider-Man. Like you're under arrest.
You're under arrest.
Like we're putting you in jail." Yeah.
So you should have bothered with the disguise, sir.
Yeah. Cuts to the credits. They say that a hero can save us.
Oh, banger. Spider-Man 2. Sam Raimi, the second one in his trilogy. Director of photography, Bill Pope. Which I wanted to point him out because I thought this movie looked beautiful. Like, I don't know if you had that thought. Like, I was watching this movie and the whole time I was like, this has to be the best looking Spider-Man movie. I have to watch the first one again. But I thought this movie just looked so good. Like, everything just looked great. And written by Alvin Sargent. I don't know what else he wrote. And then, obviously, starring Tobias Maguire.
Yeah, perhaps best known for starring in the paparazzi video where he says, "Get out of the way! I can't get through! Get the fuck out of the way!"
Yeah. Not Toby's best times. It's funny because I don't know if because you were in there like during that Tobias interact. Were you there during the whole Tobias thing?
What are you talking about?
I had like back in like maybe 2019. I had like this interaction with former roommates of ours. Because I was like out shooting something with them, and I said to them like, Tobey Maguire's name is Tobias. No, I was like saying something about the name Tobias, and they were like, Tobias is not a real name, and I was like, Tobias is a real name, and that's Tobey Maguire's name, and they were just like completely like swearing, and if they're listening, they know, I know they remember because this was a very kind of like iconic interaction. because we were both like, no, you're full of shit. Doesn't exist. Tobias is not a name. It's not Toby's name. Toby's Toby. And I looked it up, and the guy's name's Tobias.
I was definitely not there
Yeah,
because I would have backed you up.
Yeah.
Tobias is 100% a real name.
Yeah, that was one of those interactions where I was like out. I was like a 2-1, but if you had been there, it would have been like a 2-2. And they were like, they thought they had me, and I was like, no, dude, that Tobias is a real name, and that's his name. It's Tobias.
Dude, those two, God bless them, but damn, they thought
Tobias.
they thought they were right about
Oh,
everything.
they really
man.
did. Tobias Vincent. That was his name. Tobias Vincent. But everybody, Spider-Man 2. What did you think about this movie? I want to kind of walk through it like bit by bit. But obviously this opens with his like little narration, where he's just kind of like, I'm Spider-Man. And we're zooming out of Kirsten Dunst's poster, that huge poster of her that's kind of plastered through the city. What's the name of the play? I wrote the name of the play down.
Forget what it was, but it was some like little Jane Austen-y sounding thing.
Yeah, but it's like the play is also just like it completely like married to the themes, to like the theme of the movie. It's something along the lines of like, you have to be honest or something like that.
Yeah,
like, that's the name.
Yeah,
of the
I
play.
do remember seeing the title. I didn't write it down, but yeah. I mean, this like it's funny, because I watched this movie, and I think like Spider-Man 2 is a great movie. It's one of the best, for my money. It's one of the best superhero films. It's like like
Spoiler.
Spider-Man 2 and The Dark Knight.
Spoiler for me,
are like
this movie has, through me watching this again, this movie has just become even greater than
Really?
it initially was. Somehow I feel like I was like underappreciating this movie. This movie's fucking incredible.
It is.
I like when I was thinking about it, I was like, in my thoughts, I was like, really the only other movie that can compare to this one is The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And it's funny because, and I know that's what you were saying, but it's funny because even when comparing it to The Dark Knight, it feels like The Dark Knight and it are like in almost like different genres within superhero film. Where,
for sure,
yeah, because that's what I wanted to say, because it almost feels like if you take, because this movie feels like really earnest. This movie feels just like a very kind of like true like superhero movie. We're not trying to really ground this character like with Batman, where it just feels like the movie's trying to go as grounded and realistic and like kind of like gritty as possible. And I feel like in almost like in that subgenre of like realistic superhero, right? It feels like The Dark Knight is like the apex of that.
Yeah.
But with this movie, it almost feels like this is like the greatest movie, where the idea of the movie is, this is a superhero movie. This guy's goofy. Like, he's a Spider-Man, and he's wearing a red, white, and blue like outfit, like it almost feels like this movie is like not saying like, hey, we're not gonna sand this guy down, we're not gonna give him like an outfit that doesn't look silly or whatever, which it doesn't look silly anyway. I feel like for this is like the greatest movie where it's saying to the audience, just buy into this guy, buy into this story. We're not gonna sell you on him. Like, you have to buy into this guy.
Yeah, and it's like the classic like 60s Spider-Man comics where the pages, because comics changed. I'm not like a huge comic book reader, but I do read. I'm like a sporadic comic book reader. Like, I read some comic books as a kid, and once in a while I'll get interested in like like either a certain graphic novel or a certain comic book arc that I'm interested in checking out. And sometimes I'll read comic books. I guess I read comic books as much as I go fishing, which is like, twice a year, like, if that puts it into perspective. But I will say, like, as a kid, I would read some of those old Spider-Man comics, and comics kind of changed. And I don't know, I'm sure there's like all terminology for this stuff, but there's like, you used to have these like comic books where there was kind of like more of a papery texture to the page. And like, they looked more like, they still looked beautiful, but it was like there was more of a texture in there where it almost looked like someone went over it with like crayon, whereas like the comic book pages, if you leaf through a comic book now, it's like the pages have this like shine to them. There's like a different material. And it kind of like this movie is like those old 60s, really super colorful comics,
Hmm.
very saturated, kind of jumped off the page
Yeah.
and made into a movie.
Yes.
Yeah, like it's like it's more of it's like the first movie is even more so like that, where the first movie is like really goofy and but still, still a great story. It's just really goofy without being a straight up comedy. It's like as close to a comedy superhero movie as you can get without actually being comedy. And then this movie, I
Yes.
remember even as a kid, like when I was 6 or 7, when I first saw this movie, Spider-Man 2, like really my brain, I remember just sensing the difference between the first movie and the second movie. Like my brain immediately clocked the cinematography difference
Hmm.
and just how more, how more cinematic and bigger budget it looked.
Yeah, because that's also why, like I want to go back and see the first one, and I mean, we're definitely going to watch the third one here on the show.
Yeah.
But like this movie looks so good. I'm looking up like Bill Pope just to see what else he did. He shot The Matrix. This is like the cinematography of The Matrix. And a
Oh, okay.
handful of other
Interesting.
like 90s kind of like movies. A lot of low key stuff, like no names that really like stand out. But then he shot Spider-Man 3. He did not shoot Spider-Man 1, which I think is important. But he shot Spider-Man
Because you could
3.
tell, yeah, you could tell the difference because the action sequences are filmed more like The Matrix. There's use of slow
Hmm.
motion.
Hmm.
There's a little bit of slow motion in the first movie, but the second movie really utilizes slow motion and these more intricate shots that are like like I love the shots where him and Doc Ock are like falling and fighting at the same time.
Yes.
Like they're tumbling down the side of this skyscraper and they're punching each other. And that felt very Matrix-esque. So
Hmm.
that makes a lot of sense,
Yes.
actually.
Yeah. But it's I mean it's really fascinating. But again, like you said, it feels like, and again, I have to watch the first one again just to kind of get that kind of feeling from it. But it feels like this movie really kind of transitions into, like you said, we had the first one and he's in high school, and there is like a few effects in that movie that are just kind of like comic book flipping effects and stuff like that, and like the music, like you said, the first one just feels a little bit. The first one goes for like a more kind of comedic tone and not taking itself like super seriously, but still there's a lot of serious scenes, obviously, like the stuff with Green Goblin
Yeah.
and him is very serious, and the Uncle Ben stuff is very serious, and the movie ends in a very serious tone, and obviously then it kicks you into um what is it? Sheesh,
Nickelback.
Nickelback. So the movie, there is like a punk rock emo element to the film with the comedic like kind of silliness that first movie has,
Hmm.
but this second movie just feels really adult. Like I don't know if you felt that way. Like this second movie like feels like really adult. Like it feels like a movie that was made like for adults. With with
I
with
do feel
just
that way.
with just the accessibility for children to also watch this movie. Because this movie, in a way, it's like, he's not in high school anymore. He's in college. He has an apartment. He's juggling two jobs. And this movie is entirely in the name of the play is called The Importance of Being Earnest. Is the name of the play that Mary, which I think is also this is the fucking theme of this movie. Excuse my language. Um, but this movie is entirely like about this like internal struggle that he's having, where it's like every scene in this movie that he shares with either Mary Jane, Harry, or Aunt May is just addressing like the this kind of like uneasy, like there's a word that I'm looking for, but it's like addressing this like this ongoing thing with him where he's just unable to really connect with any of them, like Aunt May is his only living relative, and he is her only living relative, and he's really unable to have like a connection with her because he feels like a stranger because of this whole Spider-Man thing. And the same thing's true with Mary Jane, who refers to him as like her best friend. And Harry refers to him as his best friend. But you don't get that. Like these people say these things to Peter, and that Aunt May is his aunt and stuff, and you don't get that. It feels like he's like a stranger in these people's lives. And to me, like
Yeah.
all of those things just felt like such adult things. Especially also because I think the running time of Spider-Man in this movie is very short. Like this movie has a like very little Spider-Man. Like there's like three scenes, you know.
Yeah, I felt that way too. Like, one thing I wrote down when I was taking my notes here was, what's crazy about it is like this movie. So I wrote down like Harry versus Peter.
Hmm.
It's one of the most compelling subplots of all
Yes.
time. But
Yes.
this movie is like made of subplots. Like I
Yes.
wrote down, like you have the Uncle Ben subplot of him
Yes.
not telling Aunt May what really happened. You
Hmm.
have Harry versus Peter versus Spider-Man subplot. You have
Yes.
the MJ romance,
Yes.
and then you have the subplot of Peter wanting to ditch Spider-Man because Spider-Man's like this double life that's ruining his life.
Yes.
And Doc Ock somehow fits into all of it like a
Yes.
puzzle piece.
Yes.
It's like he fits in perfectly.
Perfectly.
And I wrote down, it's like it begs the question. It's like, are some, because I'm huge on great villains. Like I
Mhm.
hate stories that don't have
And
villains.
Doc Ock is such a great villain.
That's one of my biggest pet peeves. Like the past like two novels I've read
Yeah.
were good, but they could have been great if they actually had a villain, which
Yeah.
they don't.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the hell is going on? And but I will say, like, it does seem like some stories are too villain centric,
Mhm.
where even like that first movie, it's like all about the Green Goblin. Like,
Yes.
Green Goblin's like almost omnipresent. I mean, in a way, I still think there's a good balance in that movie.
Yeah. It's a good
But
movie.
in this second one, like, you said Spider-Man's screen time is low. Doc Ock's screen time is very limited.
Mhm.
It's like Dr. Octopus in this movie. He's a great villain, and yet at the same time, he's somehow an afterthought a little
A little
bit,
bit.
and it works.
And it works.
It weirdly
Yeah.
works. Yeah, it's like it just everything. All these subplots fit together like puzzle
I
pieces.
think it's
in
really
this
interesting.
movie. It's amazing.
I think it's really interesting too. And no, you're 100% right. I think it's so interesting that a lot of the things in this movie are not entirely connected to each other. Because I think that's kind of the issue with Doc Ock, right? He wants something that is really not related to Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man,
Yeah,
Dr. Octopus just wants to like this is what I love about Spider-Man and his villains, right? That they're just like these guys that start like well-meaning guys. Like they're not
yeah,
villains like that. Like Dr. Octavius starts just as a guy that's a brilliant, like scientist, who loves his wife, and he starts as just somebody who is literally a mentor figure for Peter, He mentors him and he like tries to kind of guide him in the right direction and gives him like love advice, and his wife like helps him, and you understand this guy not from the lens of like, oh yeah, Dr. Octopus is an evil guy, but from the lens of like, no, he's a really passionate scientist. Like he tells Peter, like the purpose of science, the purpose of having like a great intelligence and scientific like thought is for the good of humanity, So you
yeah.
get
And it's just a different skin for the
exactly.
great power comes great responsibility
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah, exactly. But and you get this thing from Odo where it's like, this is a great man. Like this is somebody to look up to, and he's accomplished and he's like at the verge of a breakthrough, But it's the same thing that undoes. There's the same thing that it's the undoing for Norman, which is hubris, right? Because he has something that he wants to prove, right? Like he wants to prove this thing. He knows in his head that it's right. He's done all the calculations, and he's like, I'm going to prove to the world, and it costs him everything, and it makes him into a villain. But his villainous intent is not like, I'm gonna beat up Spider-Man. It's like, no, he wants to do it again, He's like, I fell the first time, the chip got compromised. Now my brain's being like controlled by this AI like things that I created. And I created this AI thing specifically for the express purpose of achieving this scientific dream. And now they are pushing me towards doing that by any means necessary. And that's
Yeah.
really where he's in conflict with Spider-Man because he's trying to do it by any means necessary. So it's not that his goal is not like, I'm going to destroy Spider-Man. Spider-Man is just, to him, Spider-Man's an afterthought. He doesn't care,
Like a spider. He's just a
exactly.
pest.
It's just a pest.
Yeah.
Like all of the scenes in which Spider-Man's involved, either it's happenstance or it's directly because Harry goes, "Get me Spider-Man because I want to kill him." But Octavius doesn't care. Like Octavius just wants Harry to get him the adamantium or whatever the thing is.
Wrong movie. Tritium.
What is it?
You think Wolverine, adamantium?
What's the name of the thing in this movie?
My comic book nerd is coming out now.
No.
Tritium.
Adamantium
is what
Wolverine is made of. Yeah, that's right. But he wants the tritium, and the only reason why Spider-Man gets involved is literally only because Harry is like, well, I want to kill Spider-Man. You're a crazy maniac with octopus hands. Get me the guy that I want. I'll give you the thing that you want. And that's the only reason why he even goes to bother with Spider-Man. So that's really fascinating, how they, in this movie, which is just 2 hours, they cover so much ground. And they bring these characters together back and again, and they just kind of complicate it a little bit, make knots, and then undo them. It's just really nice and rewarding to see this. But that's the thing, right? Because that was the thought that I had. Because it's like this movie starts with the conflict of the whole 29 minutes for less pizza, which makes no sense. I know they've done away with that. Like that was just like a marketing gimmick at some point in time. But that makes no sense to try to deliver pizza like that quickly.
Go!
Yeah, I wrote that down to go.
Or your ass is fired.
So that's awesome.
Go!
And immediately, it's like, oh, here's Spider-Man, and immediately the movie, just in that first sequence of scenes, we get the whole nature of this film, right? It's Peter versus Spider-Man. The man and his issue and his responsibility, also trying to do all of these things while also being a superhero and living this double life. And we get that. And we get that at the end of the scene, he fails. And that's really the whole point, right? If he keeps trying to live this double life and do two things at once, it's going to fail at both of those things. And we, immediately, the first 5 minutes, just this sequence illustrates the whole movie's fucking what's the name? Thesis, which I found that so great.
Well, it's the simplicity of it. That's what makes as a writer, I've learned that simplification is always the best way to go, or often the best way to go. Like how do I simplify my plot? Like I'm working on a rewrite on my my full-length novel right now. It's almost, it's going to be done in about a month, by the way. And then I'm going to be looking for a literary agent.
Hey,
but
everybody look out for
a
that.
lot of the things I did in my revision was, how do I simplify the plot? Like really just simplify what the plot goals, what these characters are trying to do. How do I make this the least convoluted as possible? Because that's like the best stuff. It's always just really simple what they're trying to accomplish. And same with the philosophical conflict in this movie. It's really simple. It's Peter Parker versus Spider-Man.
Yes.
It's like great power and responsibility versus normality.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the internal conflict of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it works great because people can relate to that. It's like, it's so relatable. These people a lot of times have these things that they're trying to do. Like, I mean, just again, me as a writer, sometimes I'm like, shit, today I don't feel like spending 3 hours writing. Like I kind of want to just be a normal guy today.
Yeah.
And sometimes I do have those thoughts of like, man, wouldn't life be so much easier if I just like clocked off of work and it was like, oh, the world is my tapestry right now. I can just go do whatever. I don't have to go sit at my other fucking laptop for 3-4 more hours.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I think people can relate to that. Because I remember as a kid, and still to this day, I'm like, oh, Peter, just ditch Spider-Man. Like I'm like pro Peter Parker.
Yeah, you
when
really
I watch
are.
it, I'm like,
I mean, and by you, I mean like me.
Ditch
like
the fucking Spidey suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're just sitting there like, man, you want him to give up this Spidey suit so bad.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this, dude. Do you think that because I know, there's the whole quote that Uncle Ben gives him, right? It's like, with great power comes great responsibility. Do you think that Peter, because he has Spider-Man's powers, owes it to, like whatever, the city of New York, the people of New York, to save them? and to give up his own life
No,
for them.
I don't think so. I think because I think the movie
Yeah,
I don't think the movie thinks
I
so
agree.
either. Like I think the movie
Yeah,
because the movie says to Peter, you have a choice. You know, you don't
right.
have to do this. Um, and I don't think so. You know, like I think ultimately it is just the kind of person that Peter is. Because Peter is like a very like kind of like self-sacrificial character, and he has a lot of
Yeah,
guilt. You know, and I think a lot of the guilt from his character comes from the Uncle Ben thing that happened. You
yeah,
know, when he was a
exactly.
teenager. Um, and also the fact that he's an orphan. So I think his character is like he has a very tragic character, because I think that that's the nature of his character is just to give and to kind of be self-sacrificial and to put his needs um, below or second to those of other people. And that's kind of the issue with his character, right? Where it's like you're having this guy that just deals with a lot of guilt and with a lot of like feeling like he's responsible for a lot, and you gift this guy with this like I mean Christ like superhuman like ability. The guy can essentially fly, has super strength, has like super healing, like he's like nearly like an immortal being, you know, and you're placing these powers in this kind of troubled person in the most crime-ridden city in the world, you know. And so it becomes this like huge, like, you know, philosophical question for him. It's like, what am I supposed to do? You know? And that was the issue. Very sophisticated for this movie too, for like a mass audience to have this kind of wants and needs like arc for him because he also kind of Aunt May verbalizes it for him where she says like, you know, there's certain people in this world whom are put in a position where they just have to give up the things they want the most, you know. And that's the
Yeah,
thing with Peter where it's like, you know, he wants to just be Peter Parker and just to go to school and to do his job and to have access to his friend Harry and his Aunt May and Mary Jane, most importantly, right? And that's the
yeah,
thing for him where it's like he has to come to the understanding of like I have to sacrifice my wants, you know, in order to be the person that I am meant to be, and because that is greater than the things that I want. So this
yeah,
is like he's a like a really he's a very tragic character in that sense. But I also think that I also think that the thing with this movie is not saying like Peter has to do this, right? I don't think this movie is actually even saying like Peter needs to be Spider-Man. Like it kind of is, but I really think that the main narrative like statement of this movie is Peter needs to be honest with himself, and he needs to be honest with the people that are important to him. Like I truly think
yeah,
that's what his arc is in this movie is just to tell people the truth, you know, and then to let them make choices too. Because I think he's like because I think Peter's issue is that he interprets great power comes great responsibility to be at least at the beginning of this movie or like half of this movie. I feel like he interprets that message to mean you have to shoulder the world's horseshit. I mean, excuse me for saying that. Like you have to just shoulder like everything that's evil with the world, and you just have to do it quietly, and you just have to keep it to yourself, and you can't complain, and you can't let anybody else in. And I feel like that's the
yeah,
wrong thing because I think the movie's trying to say like, no, you know, obviously be Spider-Man because the world needs you to be Spider-Man, but to these people, to Harry and to Aunt May and to Mary Jane, who are the people that are closest to you and who are your support system, you have to allow them to decide how they interact with you in your life. Like you can't make that decision for them to just lie and withhold information, you know, and just be like, I know what's best for you. What's best for you is to not know that I'm Spider-Man, you know?
it's a great reading of this movie. Well, because I mean, it makes a lot of sense too. Because by the end of the movie, like all three of them
Everybody
know he's
knows.
Spider Man.
And that's the thing,
Aunt May definitely
like the
knows. I
most
mean, that scene,
beautiful
like rewatching that scene with Aunt May where she's,
oh,
packing up those
devastating.
boxes.
Yeah.
I'm like, she
She
knows. There's
knows.
no question. She knows he's
But
Spider
also
Man.
that scene, like that scene, the where he tells her the truth, you know, which I thought was like so
Yeah.
important for his character, where he says to her like, "Hey, I didn't go to the library. I went to this wrestling thing because I wanted to make money, because I wanted to buy a car. A guy stole the money that I was supposed to be for me, and because I was being vindictive, I decided not to do the right thing. And I love the thing that he says at the end of that, because he says, Uncle Ben died that night for being the only person that did the right thing. I love that line. Beautifully written. And it's insanely like, again, this is supposed to be like a kid's movie, but it's like how that scene's treated. That scene opens with a master, and then you have two back and forth close-ups on May's reactions, and just Peter just telling Aunt May for the first time in 2-3 years what happened with Uncle Ben, which he's not been able to do for years. And then we have this close-up of her hand, and he reaches and grabs it, and she pulls it away. And then that close-up goes up to her face, and she's just in shock. And then we cut back to the master that we started that scene with, and she walks away.
Right.
Insane, But that's the whole purpose of this movie, right? This is the aftermath movie. This is like, we all saw Spider-Man 1, and now let's deal with that. This is the movie where we're going to deal with all that. And that, to me, that's beautiful, But again, like, all of the scenes that are conclusive to all these characters in this movie are those scenes where he's like, I'm going to tell you the truth, And I love that, because I really do feel like that's really what, I don't know if you agree or disagree with me, but I really thought that rewatching this movie, I thought that was what this movie was about. It was like, yes, you have to be Spider-Man, but also you have to be honest, And that's why I wrote the name of the play that said like the importance of being earnest, because I was like, this is what this movie's about. It's about being earnest and being honest,
That's a really good catch, dude. I gotta say, man, not to blow smoke up your ass, but I really think that's probably the best like analysis of this movie I've ever heard. Like, dude, I mean, you really went in there.
Well, thank you, dude. I appreciate it.
People in the comments is like, these fucking guys are insufferable. No, dude, that was awesome, man. I mean,
I appreciate it, dude.
No, I agree with everything you said. Like, I mean, that is, and what's interesting about the Aunt May scene where he tells her, about Uncle Ben is like, at that point too, it's like, she knows he's Spider-Man, because if she didn't, she would have been like, well, you didn't have to stop a robber.
Yeah.
How can you stop a robber? You're just this nerdy ass
goofy.
You're my nerdy ass nephew.
Yeah.
But she knew.
She
knew when he saved her from Doc Ock. That's when she put it together. She was like, oh, this guy has Peter's voice. And then she probably was like, oh shit, like that's why he's always gone.
Yeah.
And is like a weirdo.
He's a weirdo.
And then I think what is it that
the guy says, like, what a hero, your nephew, when Peter just like runs away.
Yeah, she sees that too, where it's like she sees him go, and then the next second Spider-Man's in there. She's probably like, because that's the whole thing in like Superman 2. I watched like last year. I rewatched it, and Lois Lane says to Clark, she's like, every time Superman comes around, you just disappear, and she's like onto him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, yeah. The people close to you. That's what's great about this movie is like the people close to you are gonna figure it out. Like
eventually.
Yeah. And that's what, dude, this movie just highlights how much those MCU movies
suck.
Oh, yes. Dude. Because they're not adult. If you tried to do this movie now,
you won't. You can't.
The studios would be like, "No, there's not enough Spider-Man. There's not enough Doc Ock. We need more villains to set up future sequels. Like, we need more." It's like, we just need more. Spider-Man needs a nanomite suit.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to give Spider-Man some
jet
thrusters.
No movie.
It doesn't make sense that he's able to swing from buildings.
No movie in the MCU.
He's too high up. How could he swing from buildings?
Yeah, no, they would destroy it. Like, this movie wouldn't be able to. This movie wouldn't exist now, and it's funny because no movie in the MCU is as good as this movie. No movie. The only thing that comes close to there's a couple of movies that come close to being good. Not even to come close to this movie, but just to being good. There's a few of them. But it's like this movie is like on a league of its own, and it's so funny when you think about them and Marvel Cinematic Universe that it's like the best that you can say about the best of those movies is that they're like kind of all right, like kind of good,
Yeah.
That's like the best you can say.
I know,
And
man.
even
Like,
now, I'm not
people gush
excited for
over
like the new.
Infinity War, and it's like Infinity War's not even that
It's not
good,
that
man.
great,
It's just like, can we be honest with ourselves? Like, a lot of these
And
things
that's why I
that
want to
people say are
rewatch it
great
too.
aren't that great.
That's why I want to
You know?
rewatch Infinity War because I remember watching it and being like, "This is really good." I gave it like a 7 or something, and I want to
Yeah.
rewatch it because I'm like, I want to kind of re-experience the hype of it because it's been so long. But I also know that in rewatching it, I will be like, yeah, there's like a whole like 30-minute stretch of this movie in one of these side plots this movie has that is just terrible, Which you can't say that about this movie, And I
Yeah.
rewatched like I rewatched like Spider-Man 3, like the one with Toby and Andrew and the other guy. The other guy, I don't know that guy's name, Tom Holland. I rewatched that one, and that one's good, but it's like in rewatching it, I also got like, oh, this doesn't really hold up though, and it's like, and
Yeah, if you take out the fanfare aspect
exactly,
of
it just falls apart.
it's not that.
And it's funny how
Yeah,
that
it's
movie
not that
plays with
good.
you, and I was in watching Spider-Man 2, I couldn't help but think about that movie because it was just like, yeah, like that Tom Holland movie, and in me rewatching it, it was so much of that movie that worked was the fact that I just couldn't help but get emotionally into that movie because Tobey Maguire showed up in that movie.
Exactly. No, you didn't even give a shit about Andrew Garfield. You didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about his villains either.
No, his villains are
Lizard and
terrible.
Electro showing up.
Like
It's
Andrew
who
Garfield's a
cares?
great actor, and he is great in that Spider-Man movie. But it's like, who gives a shit? And like you said, the villains, like the Lizard guy and Electro, they were terrible. They were terrible in his movies, and they're terrible in the new one too. They're just kind of there.
Mhm.
Like it's funny that in the newest Spider-Man movie, the only villains that come across making kind of an impact and being like, oh, it's Willem Dafoe and Dr. Octavius, the
Exactly.
two
Yeah.
best ones from the Tobey movies. It's so silly.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, I wrote down here. I wrote down that it's like Peter Parker. He's played expertly by Tobey Maguire.
Tobey's perfect.
It's like he's the perfect combination of empathy, sympathy, and envy, which are like the three. That's one of my favorite quotes about like great protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
It's like what gets you invested in a protagonist is empathy, sympathy, and envy.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can nail all three of those, you got a good protagonist.
Tobey's
and
perfect.
You have the bag with you have all three with Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. It's like, you got the empathy there because you understand the this conflict that he has between doing what's right and versus doing what's best for him.
Mm-hmm.
You have the sympathy because you're watching this guy. I mean, this movie is an exercise in watching Peter Parker get kicked in the balls.
Yes,
like that's what I really realized watching this movie. I was like, yeah, I mean, it's just, and it never ends because even the Spider-Man scenes, he can't even get his powers to work. Like, I'm like, holy shit, this guy can't catch a break.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't believe it rewatching this movie. I was like, holy shit, this guy really goes through the ringer. And then envy because he's fucking Spider-Man and he can, do backflips and swing through the city and kick Doc Ock's ass, on a train. You know what I mean? So
Which
it's
is funny
like
because
you got this perfect combination in this movie.
The first time that Dr. Octopus like really like tests whether or not Peter is like willing to just like manhandle him, he manhandles him. Which I feel like the only time that happens is like at the end when he goes to rescue Mary Jane, because he just deals with him. Like he like, he comes back, like Doc Ock like, throws him out of the building, and then Peter comes back in, like kicks him down into like the underground part of that, and he just like punches him like 1,000 times. And then Octavius is done after that. He's done after that. Like after that, the issue is that the reactor thing just keeps getting bigger, but after that, Octavius is done. And then Peter goes to Octavius and he's like, hey man, like, we gotta do something about this. And Octavius is like, I guess I'll deal with it, But it's like, by that point he beat him. He like punched him like 20 times. It was like, I guess, Yeah.
You know what scene I noticed? There's a lot of really great symbolism littered throughout this movie, and one that I caught that I never remembered was in the and it's great, and it's so good that it's like almost on the nose, but it's like it kind of is, but it's in the laundromat
Oh
where
yeah,
he
the clothes are it's
washes
like
his
bleeding into his
Spider-Man suit
clothes. Yes,
and his
yes.
Spider-Man suit bleeds into the clothing. And it's like it's an obvious metaphor
Hmm.
for how Spider-Man is spoiling Peter Parker's life, you know.
Hmm.
And
hmm
I just thought it's like little things like that you get throughout the movie
And it's
that are
not a
just so
throwaway.
brilliant.
It's not a throwaway. It's just like a little scene. I feel like you got. I feel
Yeah.
like if you got a scene like that, like in a like not to keep kind of beating down on MCU movies, or down enough as it is, I suppose. But if you get a scene, you
They
get like a
stink.
little throwaway scene like that in a movie like that, and it would literally just be a throwaway scene. But in this movie, it's like
Yeah.
they're doing something to help continue to emphasize like the 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 main themes of this story and the crisis that this character is in. So I loved that. I love Peter getting fired. I like it's so I always remember how that guy just like rips the the company
Yeah.
logo off his hat, but it's like such a shitty little logo that it like still stays there. Like it's just like one of those that you really can't. It's one of those that after you put it down somewhere, you can never rip it off because it just
Yeah.
lives there.
But again, that's a great shot because it would have been too satisfying if he ripped it off and it just all came off. But the fact that he rips it off and it looks like a fucking mess,
Yeah.
it's like, again, it's like that symbolism. They did that on purpose.
Hmm.
You know,
I
if
love
Sam
it.
Raimi wanted to get a sticker that he rips off and it comes
Yes.
off perfectly, they
Yes,
would have done
they
it.
would have done that.
Everything's
100%.
intentional.
Yes, a
You
hundred
know, it,
percent.
it was a metaphor for how Peter Parker's life is a mess. It's like
Yes.
now
It's
your
messed
helmet
up.
would look fine without it
Yeah.
and it would look fine with it.
Yeah.
But the fact that he ripped it and now you have a ripped sticker on your
On your
helmet,
helmet.
you look like a mess.
Yeah.
You look more disheveled than you did
Yeah.
5 minutes ago. And it's like it's great.
But
Like
everything.
Sam Raimi is a brilliant fucking
Oh,
director.
dude, he really is. It's so awesome that we grew up with that guy because you can like I feel bad for the people who are growing up with these like Tom Holland movies, man, because it's like
They suck.
they suck and I mean they're terrible, but it's like you can go back and look at these Raimi movies as an adult and be like, man, this guy was cooking. Like
Yeah.
this guy was like peaking. He was like peaking as an artist and as a filmmaker. And he put it on screen, and we got to see it, and we were better for it. And it's fascinating
Yeah.
too that he's putting all of these like philosophies into his film that are just like really like I mean those are things to live by, the things his characters say in this movie. And I feel like that's also very powerful. Just to watch a movie with a lot of like brilliant characters and characters that you can look up to and just have a lot of stuff that you can take away from it. But I think it's really fascinating too, like you said. I just want to go back to a point that you made before, that Aunt May knows that he's Spider-Man, because I think that's another kind of element of this film, right? That it feels like all of them in a way know he's Spider-Man because
Yeah.
Mary Jane figures it out, like when she kisses her fiance, then she has this moment where she's like, because the guy goes like, "I just went to the moon there. Did you?" And we have that kind of zoom into her face where she's just kind
Yeah.
of like, this is not quite the same. But then something clicks on her because then she's like, "I gotta go see Peter," and she goes and sees him, and she's like, "Do you love me?" He's like, "I don't love you," and we know that he's lying. And again, that's a part of we know that he's lying, and again, like the big part of his character here is like you are supposed to like for you to really kind of finalize this arc, you're supposed to tell everybody the truth. But he lies to her, and she's like, "Well, then kiss me," because she knows. She's like, "You're lying. Like your words are lying to me, but your actions, like if you kiss me, I will know that you're Spider-Man." Because she knows. Like I kissed you in the first movie, and if I kiss you again, I will know. So she's like right there, and then Octavia shows up, and we know that Aunt May knows,
Exactly.
and Harry knows, and he just doesn't want to. He doesn't want it to be true, but Harry knows.
You think Harry knows?
Yes,
Because I
because
know Aunt May knows, and obviously in that scene when she goes to kiss him, you obviously know what she's doing.
Yeah.
She's trying to
She's trying
deduce,
to
are
deduce.
you Spider-Man?
Yeah,
You think Harry knows?
I think Harry knows because, or rather, I think
It
Harry
seems
knows.
very obvious.
I think-
and that's one of my issues with this movie, but we'll get into
no,
that.
I don't
Go
have
ahead.
that as an issue with this movie because I believe that for Harry it's subconscious, because I think
Mhm.
Harry is in conflict in this film with the fact that he loves Peter, and Peter is his
Right.
best friend, and Peter is Spider-Man, and he just doesn't want to, in his head, he doesn't want to say Peter is Spider-Man, you
And
know.
he vocalizes that at the end when he's talking to his dad in the mirror too.
What do you mean?
It's like he says to his dad, you know, like, hey, like Peter's my friend.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to kill him.
But that's
So it's like that comes to a head. But you're saying
Yeah.
that's littered throughout the movie.
Yes, because Harry knows that Peter takes Spider-Man's photos. And
Right.
there is a scene in this movie in which Harry says something along the lines of, every time Spider-Man shows up, you're not there, or something along those lines. Like there is a scene where Harry says that. And to me, like him saying that to Peter felt to me like he was like, well, you know that the guy, he's him, you know, he's the guy.
Yeah.
Like it really just felt to me like he knew, you know, like he just didn't want to, like it felt like to me like he was in his head, he was playing games where he's like, he's not, you know, like I would have to, you know, because it feels like even when Harry like unmasks him, it feels to me like he was just like this terror of confirmation, you know.
Yeah.
Like it is Peter, you know. He wants to kill Spider-Man. So he has the man who killed his father in front of him, yet he doesn't kill him, he unmasks him, you know. And then he's like, Peter, you know. Oh, but it's like, dude, you knew that.
Oh my god!
But it's like, dude,
when
you
does
knew
he
it.
say to him that whenever Spider-Man shows up, you're not there? When does he say that?
He says
I
that,
don't remember that.
I made note of it, like, because he said, I don't know if he said that like verbatim, but he made some kind of comment in the movie that basically was implying like you and Spider-Man are not in the same place at the same time, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, wasn't it? It was after the demonstration, maybe,
Yes,
when he was
exactly.
like, "Yeah, where were you?"
Yes.
Spider-Man showed up.
Yes, exactly.
Where were you?
Because when
Yeah, that's what I love about this movie. Because like also JJ's
Yeah.
assistant knows too.
Exactly.
He's like, I heard Spider-Man,
Spider-Man was there. He
You know,
knows
the
that it's
famous
Peter.
line that we all know and
Yeah, I
love.
love
that
that.
I
Seems
fucking
great.
lost my shit.
I
dude.
lost it too.
When we rewatched this at some point in college, and we were both,
We lost our
I
shit.
was drunk as hell,
Yeah.
as I am now, by the way. Man, bourbon is strong, I'll tell you that. Dude, I lost my shit. I thought that was so fucking funny. Where he's just like, I heard Spider-Man was there,
Yeah.
and he like gives him that look, and I was like, holy shit, I forgot about that scene. He
Yes,
fucking
he
knows.
Yeah.
But that's what's great about this movie is like the movie, Sam Raimi knew. He's like, dude, it would be obvious to certain people
that he would be
in
he's
Parker's
Spider-Man.
life
Yeah.
that like I can't prove it, but I know it's true.
Yeah.
You know,
And
where it's like I don't know it for a fact,
Yeah.
but I think it's pretty clear.
Yes, and I believe Harry is one of those characters because what you said is what I was
Yeah.
thinking about. Because like, you know, the incident starts happening at Octavius's lab, and Peter immediately leaves, and then immediately Spider-Man shows up, and Harry takes note of
Yeah.
all of this, and then Spider-Man saves Harry, you know, and then at the end of the scene, Harry's like, Spider-Man was there, where were you? Where did you go? You know, which again, to me, it's like, it's very clear. Like, I think Harry, like, I really do believe that Harry knows, like, he just doesn't want to, like, I feel like Harry wants Peter to not be Spider-Man. Like, he wants him to
Yeah.
not be Spider-Man, and he wants Peter to say to him, I'm not Spider-Man. You know, like he confronts Peter during his birthday and he goes like, if you knew who he was, would you tell me? You know?
Yeah.
And Peter just says, you know, he doesn't say anything. And I think that's the issue. I think that for Harry, that's the issue, that he's like, how can you be my best friend if you're not being honest with me? You know, you at least have to tell me you're not fucking Spider-Man, you know? But he doesn't
That
tell him.
moment's so great, dude, because I literally, when that moment happened, when I was watching it for the podcast,
Yeah.
I was like, I was literally saying lines in my head, like, what would I say in that position? Like, if my best friend asked me that,
Yeah.
like, I was like, what would I say? I don't know what sounds right. You
Yeah.
know, would I say yes?
Yeah.
Would I say I would be a mediator between you two? Like, what would I say? But what you're saying is really speaks to how adult this movie is.
Yeah.
Again, that's very adult. Things, because that's a very adult thing, is to like to know things
Mhm.
about people but not say them,
Mhm.
and for things to go unspoken. I
Mhm.
mean, we all have people listening to this, like, you probably have family members and friends who have let things go unspoken for years,
Hmm.
maybe decades.
Yes.
Dude, decades. I know people who have let things go unspoken between others for decades.
Yeah.
And that's what's great about this movie is it's
Yes.
so adult.
Yes.
And that's what MCU will never be
No.
is adult.
No.
Not one of those movies is
No.
adult.
Some of those movies get close.
And this is the difference. Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies were Saturday morning cartoons adapted for general audiences,
Mhm.
adult, mature audiences, or semi-mature audiences.
Yeah.
Let's just say general audiences. MCU movies are Saturday morning cartoons
Yes.
adapted into live action.
Yeah.
They are the equivalent of the Disney live action remakes.
Yeah.
That
Yes.
is what they are.
100%.
The MCU are Saturday morning cartoons adapted into live action.
100%. Yeah, there's just like they just lack so much substance, which is
Yeah.
just like it just makes you sad, that it's just like, oh, why can't these movies like have this level of like substance and nuance and commentary? It's just it makes you sad.
Yeah.
But I love
Because
that scene.
it's like, why do we need you to? That's what I've thought. That's what I've always thought with the Disney live action remakes is like, why do I need this? I already have the cartoon. What
Yeah.
are you bringing new to it? What new things, new angle are you bringing to this besides the fact that it is now in 3 dimensions? Now that is now in live action.
Yeah.
It's like I don't need. We have the Saturday morning cartoons already. We have the comic books already. Why do we have to adapt it with, modern special effects, but nothing else?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Just a couple of things that I want to note, and then I'm okay with moving out of the movie. But also, I want to give you the floor just to any grievances that you might want to have, that you might want to talk about,
thanks.
rather. But some things I wanted to point out. I love that Peter gets fired, by the pizza guy, and then we cut to him getting fired by Jonah Jameson. I love that. It goes from him getting fired to him getting fired. I love that, the scene where Peter is trying to go see the play, meanwhile trying to be Spider-Man. And that they play that song "Hold On" by the band Jets or whatever. Like, for you to hold on to that song. That kind of like almost like country like rock song they play during that sequence.
Yeah.
I love that scene. And he goes to get the flower. The guy's like, hey, taps him. It's like, actually, you only get 3 flowers. Obviously, I love the scene at the lobby of the theater with the gentleman from the Evil Dead movies. I forget his name. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Bruce something.
Bruce Campbell, I think is his name.
Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, the hair Spider-Man was there. Stuff's great. Jonah Jameson's great. I forget the name of the actor. What's the name of that
J.K.
actor?
Simmons.
J.K. Simmons. J.K. Simmons, incredible in this movie.
Yeah, he's awesome. Dude, the line that killed me, I never remembered it, but when MJ leaves his son at the altar and he goes like, make sure they don't open the caviar.
Yeah, I love that. Like, call the catering lady and tell her not to open the caviar. And his wife just looks at him like, really, this is what you're thinking about right now? Obviously the scene, like that whole like scene with MJ, like the scene where the party scene where Peter is photographing and Harry slaps him like 3 times and humiliates him in front of everybody. And then the next thing is the guy being like, MJ agreed to marry me. Like that, all of that just felt like so like like the worst night in that guy's life, and then he had to photograph it. I love that scene. That seems great. That was an hour into the movie. I made a note of that. And I at that point in time, like an hour into the movie, I wrote, this movie is flawless. Like I had no issue whatsoever with this movie, and everything about the movie at that point just felt so poignant and beautiful. And then obviously it's interesting because a lot of the issues that Peter has with his powers come directly after MJ scenes, like not after Aunt May scenes or not after Harry scenes. They come directly after MJ scenes. Like Peter, I think the first scene where he like really lost his powers, like when he fell from the sky, was like the scene after he saw MJ with that guy across the street.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
and then the
Yeah, it's
scene,
like that's his Achilles heel.
yeah,
I
and
mean
then the
that
scene
he's
where he
in
like
love with
completely
that girl.
quits, it's after she gets engaged. He completely quits Spider-Man. I found
Yeah.
that fascinating that it was MJ's life and her not being available that was just so distressing. It was like, I'm not Spider-Man anymore. Um, Let me
Yeah,
see.
what's such a kick in the balls about those scenes too is like when those scenes happen, right? Where it's like, oh man, this is like the worst night of this guy's life, which happens like multiple times, but particularly the scene where they were really going for that when Harry slaps him, and then it's like
Mhm.
MJ's getting married. MJ's just agreed
Just
to marry
punch,
me,
punch,
and then
punch, punch.
Parker,
Yeah,
Parker, take pictures.
it's so.
And then you get this release, you get this feeling of like, oh, but he's Spider-Man. He still gets to swing through the
And then it's like, no,
city
he's not
and
Spider-Man
he's
anymore.
awesome, but he doesn't even get that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
I love the raindrops
Yeah.
falling under my head scene. I love that scene so much. Iconic. Just him eating that hot dog and walking around like a goof.
Hmm.
And then I love it when he goes to actually see the play after he quit being Spider-Man and he's walking out with MJ and he's like, I'm a different guy. And he's basically trying to get her to like not marry the guy. He's like, don't marry that guy kind of. I love that he said to her, you want to go get some chow mein? Because I was like, that so that has to be like a pickup line. That's like his pickup line. That's like his like this is how I get the girls. Like I invite them to eat chow mein with me. And MJ is like, nah, I gotta go. So I love that. I love that. I wrote it down. So he just said to her, you wanna get some chow mein. And then I guess the last point I want to make is obviously Joey Diaz is in this movie. But
Yeah, I wrote that down.
the second to last point I want to make is that the I heard Spider-Man was their guy. He was like really upset when Peter quit. Like when that
Yeah.
garbage man when he brought the clothes and he was
Hmm.
holding the mask, he kind of like kind of pressed it a little bit in his hands
I
and
noticed that too.
and then you had that close up of his face where he's like so distressed by that, and I actually
Yeah.
found that like kind of powerful. That it's like, oh, this guy like loves Peter, like he knows he's Spider Man, and the fact that the fact that he knows Peter quit is like something that like really like unsettled his soul, and I found that like really
Yeah.
cool.
Again, that's like what we've lost that in modern superhero movies. This is why I don't watch
He was a
superhero
side
movies.
character with like a
I don't.
whole world inside of him.
It's subtext.
Yeah.
It's subtext. It's things that go unspoken, and people can then, after the movie, talk about it for decades.
Yeah,
Decades.
yeah,
If you leave things unspoken and you don't make things
obvious.
on the nose and
Yeah.
stupid and the butt of some Nickelodeon joke, MCU, Disney, then people will talk about it for decades.
Yeah,
They'll have Reddit threads about it for decades.
Yes.
Wondering,
And it's interesting.
theorizing.
It's interesting because we're talking about this movie and we've spent now an hour talking about it, which I think it's doing this movie service for sure. And it would have been great if Jack had been here because obviously he would have had his own points to add to it, and he'll be here for the Spider-Man 3 one. But I feel like there's so much more that we could talk about with this movie. Like we could rewatch this movie again in a few months and probably pick up on new stuff, which I find that just so beautiful of an experience with film. I feel like this is when films are like at their best, when you can do stuff like that with them. But my final point to make with this film is that I love how this movie ends because it starts with Peter looking at an MJ poster and we're zoom out of it, and it ends with us zooming in on MJ as she's watching Peter like just swing away into Spider-Man stuff. It always that ending of in her wedding outfit from a life that she walked away from, and this movie haunts me. It's always haunted me my entire life because of how this movie ends, which is just kind of like so much at the end of this movie is now in motion, like you start this movie and it's been years of just Peter living this secret life. And then at the end of this movie, because now everybody knows, like Harry knows, and Aunt May knows, and MJ knows, and everybody, it feels like we leave this movie with so much on the horizon for these characters because everything for these characters changed, And that to me is like it feels insane because it also feels outside of the Harry stuff. Like it feels like this movie could just end and you could never see another Spider-Man movie, and just
Yeah.
understand that a lot of things in these people's lives have changed from how they were at the very beginning of this film. Um, and then I
I
obviously,
always think of that too. Yeah.
but then I obviously also, and this is my last point, I love that for some reason Sam Raimi ends these movies and then like the most emo rock song
Yeah.
is the first thing you hear for whatever reason. And this time it was Vindicated by Dashboard Confessional, which I love. It's a great song. I'm vindicated. I mean, love that song.
It's the
That's
2000s,
the
man.
2000s, dude. That's my last point.
Yeah. Yeah, the ending of this movie, like how perfect it is, it always makes me
Perfect.
it just makes me really sad at
It makes me
how
really sad.
Spider-Man 3 turned out
Yeah,
because it's like it was building to something so great.
yes.
And
They
I mean
pushed.
the
It was
ending of this
Venom that
movie is
got pushed into it, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Sam Raimi didn't want to do Venom, but the studio forced him
That's
to.
so terrible.
Um yeah, it just it's crazy because the ending of the movie is so perfect with that final shot of MJ
But
where
also, Spider-Man 3 is
you
a
see
sad
on her
movie, and it ends also like in a sad way. But it's just like everything that happens in that. There's so much like BS in that movie.
yeah. Yeah, and like Sam Raimi wanted to I remember it's like he wanted to make a Spider-Man 4
Yeah,
that fixed it, and
yeah. He
it's
never
like,
got it.
man, it's just too late.
Yeah,
You know, it's just too late. They just didn't stick the
they
landing,
didn't
and
stick the landing. They should
I
have
think a
let him
Spider-Man 4
do.
would have just made it even worse. It would have been like whatever. Because Spider-Man 3 is I like a lot of aspects of
There's
Spider-Man
a lot to
3,
like in
but
that
it
movie.
just there is, but it's just so cluttered and so clunky and just yeah,
They got greedy.
and yeah, but I mean, with the ending of this movie, the way they set up, like the way they set up the Harry as the Goblin is like, oh my god, it's just so good,
Yeah,
dude.
it's perfect.
Talk about the best ending of like to a the best wrap up of a subplot ever.
Hmm.
With him finding the Goblin's lair,
Hmm.
incredible. And then yeah, that final shot of MJ, it's like you said, dude, it's haunting. I mean, it's
Yeah,
just like you just see on her face, like, oh boy, you know,
yeah,
you see on her like what I see on her face in that scene is like, you know, all right. I mean, I'm in this, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm in
yeah.
this. You
Exactly,
know?
exactly. It's like you see in her face like this mixture of happiness. Like I'm finally able to, like she's finally able to live this life that she was wanted to live for years, but
Hmm.
also this like slight hint of trepidation of just being
Yeah.
like, but I don't know exactly what this is. This is
Right.
new and strange, and this guy's
Yeah.
Spider-Man. you know,
Exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like this feeling of like, you know, I have kind of gotten everything I wanted, but there's going to be new challenges ahead.
yeah,
I think is really what that phase is saying,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And it's like I want to be, you know, it's like what she said to him is written there on her face, which is like I want to be there with you for those challenges, you
yeah.
know. Um yeah, like I don't think there's any regret in her decision
No,
necessarily.
no,
Not at all. But
no.
I think there is just that feeling of like, oh boy, it's us versus the world now,
Yeah, for
which is
sure.
really which is really romantic. I mean,
Yeah,
that is like the pinnacle of you know, of like classical romance, you
yeah,
know, if you go back to like Romeo and Juliet or whatever. But
yeah,
yeah, like I guess I'll go through my notes and we can kind of move on. But
yeah.
one thing I noticed, the dude acting alongside Mary Jane during her play is Terry Crowley from The Shield.
I haven't seen. I haven't seen the
Um,
Shield, but good
well,
cast
he's the
anyway.
guy that Vic shoots at the end of the first
Okay,
episode.
okay,
He's
okay.
only around. He's only around for one
Yes, I've
episode.
seen him. Yeah, I didn't catch him though.
Apparently, I learned this recently, but what they did with that show, The Shield, which I've been rewatching a lot lately. And by the way, for those listening, this is not the Marvel show, The Shield. This is The Shield, the cop show from back in the day. Um, they featured his character heavily in the promotion of the show of
Mhm.
season 1. so that it made people think that he was going to be like the main character of the show,
Hmm.
only for Vic to shoot him at the end of the first
It was quite
episode. So you'd
shocking,
be
I
like,
remember.
holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's that actor. I reckon. I was like, wait, who is that guy? And then I was like, oh shit, it's the guy that
The fake
the
protagonist
Thing
of the
shoots at
Shield.
the end of.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Oh, dude, there's a lot of really great symbolism in the train scene of this movie.
The Jesus symbolism.
Exactly. So the Christ symbolism is the most obvious.
Yeah.
But I also, you got the Christ symbolism with the train stoppage. And to me, that scene is like Spider-Man. He's finally accepted his role kind of as a martyr,
Yes.
right? It's him basically being like, you know what? It's these people's safety and, just working for the betterment of mankind is the role that I've accepted. It's my cross to bear.
Yes.
But I think
Yes.
there's also some deeper symbolism here when he's maskless in that scene. Now, my dad, to this day, will tell you he hates that scene. Dude.
I don't hate that scene.
He hates that scene.
Yeah.
If you talk to my dad
Yeah, we have
about
to talk about
Spider-Man
it.
2,
Brian, we
he'll
have to
be
talk
like,
about this
man, you got to ask my dad about this.
Yeah.
My dad will say, he's like, man, I love that Spider-Man 2 one with Dr. Octopus, but man, he's like, I hated that scene where Spider-Man doesn't have a mask in front of everybody. That scene is so stupid.
I usually don't like those kind of scenes, but I do like it in this movie.
Yeah, and it's so funny because I always liked it too, and I get where my dad's coming from. My dad always thought that scene was just so dumb.
Yeah.
But what I think that scene is the symbolism of that scene is, because you said it at the beginning of the episode, and I agree with you. The conflict of this movie is Peter Parker versus Spider-Man. That's the internal conflict. And that scene, him being maskless, symbolizes the reconciliation between Peter Parker and Spider-Man.
Yes, it marries him. In my note I wrote,
it's him. He's there in front of everybody as
Spider-Man,
Peter
and Spider-Man. Yes, like in my note I wrote that scene fused him to that identity, and I do believe that that's the narrative purpose of that scene. And that, I mean, if I talk to your dad about it, that's kind of what I would say too. And I think he understands it. I think your dad actually also knows. I think. I do also get the feeling that he gets, because there's a lot of movies, like especially superhero movies, especially the new Tom Holland movie, where at the end of it, Jake Gyllenhaal tells the whole world that Peter is Spider-Man. There's stuff like that just pisses me off because you're like, this is part of the whole idea of this as a superhero, is that this is a secret identity, and in a way, when you relate to these characters, you almost kind of hold that as like a holy element, But I do believe that in this movie they did it right, and it served the purpose, and it didn't undo the character, because it didn't really have a consequence for him.
No, because it's believable that there's a lot of things in this movie, and I'll get to that. I'm going to run out my bullet points of like issues I have with this movie in a second here, but that's actually not a logical issue for me, because this was 2004. It was before everybody had a camera.
Yeah, no, it is like photographing,
a smartphone. So you could plausibly believe that like everybody, what's it going to do? No one on this train knows who he is.
Yeah.
At best, they could give a composite sketch of him and just be like, oh, he's brunette white guy,
blue eyes,
but that's it. I mean, but you also, I could believe that everybody in this, not even the train, one train car,
it was one of the cars,
are so grateful that they're like, you know what, I'm just, like, I'm not even gonna, whatever.
Yeah,
like, we're not even. The kids say we're not going to tell anybody, but it's like, well, it's there to tell. You don't have his ID,
right?
You don't know who he is.
He's just some guy.
He's just some guy.
Yeah, he's just some guy. Yeah.
Oh, you just have like a demographic.
And they owe them. They owe him, and they more than even the people in the back directly owe this guy. I mean, all of them owe him their lives, but they they were directly there with him, just watching like all the suffering the poor guy had to do to achieve that. But yes, go ahead.
Yeah, but you know what I've noticed, dude? I got to say this, as we've been talking, and just now it really hit me. You and I seem to have very similar notes on this movie and what it tells me, like with things we've noticed about it. And like multiple times throughout this episode, we've been like, "Oh yeah, I wrote that down too." And what that tells me is that the intention of the artists in this movie was so clear,
Yes.
you
Yeah,
know,
so well
because
communicated.
that's the great challenge of being an artist is how do I communicate my intention here,
Yes.
you know, and it to me it's like Sam Raimi was just able to communicate his intentions so clearly that
Mhm.
so many of us have come away from this movie with the same reading on it. You know, nobody's ever going to have the same 100% reading on it, but we're all pretty pretty damn close, I
Yeah.
would say.
Shouts out to Peter's neighbor. That's the best neighbor in cinematic history.
Oh,
Brought,
that girl.
she brought him cake and like milk. Damn.
Yeah,
Go on.
that's funny. She's in the Shield too,
Really?
dude. It's kind of weird that there's multiple people from the
In
Shield in
this,
this movie.
yeah, they just like were casting him off of Spider-Man. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, yeah. But I'll hurry up here. Dude, you know what I thought of during the scene where he saves Mary Jane, and before he's completely unmasked in front of her, he says like, "Hold on, Mary Jane,"
How
and
you
it
know
hit
it's
me. I
Mary
was like, it's so funny to
Jane?
me the false context of like, imagine if Spider-Man actually wasn't Peter Parker, right?
Yeah.
And he's just some random guy, and he has to save this redhead lady so many
Yeah, right?
times that he knows her name.
But she's also
Like
famous in
he's
the
just
city
some
too.
like imagine that, like Spider-Man, like imagine the context that everybody else believes, where everybody thinks that Peter Parker is the guy who photographs
Photographs
this
Spider-Man.
guy named Spider-Man,
Yeah,
and this guy named Spider-Man has to save this random redheaded lady
yeah.
named Mary Jane
Mary
so
Jane.
much
Yeah. He
that he
knows it's
knows her
MJ.
name is Mary Jane.
Yeah. That's pretty funny.
And you know what else I put? I wrote here because at the end in that final scene, he hears a siren and he goes and dresses up as Spider-Man. She's like, "Go get him, Tiger!" And he swings out. Does Peter turn into Spider-Man every time he hears sirens in New
Sirens.
York?
I guess so.
Because if that's the case, I've been to New York. My
There's
sister
a lot of
lives in New York.
sirens. Yeah.
No fucking wonder he's late for
Everything.
everything.
Yeah.
How does he have a life? If you hear a siren, every
Every
time you
time.
hear a siren,
Yeah.
you got to dress up as
Well, because
Spider-Man.
that's like the one thing that I wish they also had addressed in the film.
Mm,
Actually, which it was that I thought there is some stuff for the police, Peter. You know,
mm,
like that was a thought that I had. So there's some things that you do leave to law enforcement. You know,
yeah.
obviously Dr. Octavius, obviously the Green Goblin, guys like that, yes, you have to stop those guys.
Super
Yeah,
villains.
there are certain things that obviously also it would be great if the police had your help, but not every single thing is a you problem.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well, they addressed that in The Amazing Spider-Man, didn't they?
they
Which is
did.
a bad movie.
Yes,
But the Andrew Garfield one, they actually addressed that,
they did.
where Gwen Stacy's dad says, like, well, that guy Spider-Man beat up, we were actually waiting for him to lead us to like the bigger mob bosses,
Hmm.
you know? So, and that's why police, they don't want vigilantes. That's
Right,
why they don't want vigilantes,
right,
because they interfere with the greater good,
right,
you know? And there's an argument. I do think there is an argument in society for vigilantism.
right,
I'm not saying vigilantism is always bad, but, you know, you can't have constant vigilantism because it's like, you know, the cops have a process.
yes.
You know, you watch a movie like Heat, you know, it's like Al
They have to get this
Pacino,
guy. Yeah,
they're watching those dudes,
they're
they're
letting them
watching them
rob the
commit a
banks and do the
crime.
things because they want to get the big fish that will make all of this stop. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
They watch them commit that B&E, but he's like, you know, that classic line, Al Pacino, no, you're going to let them walk. You're
Yes.
going to let them walk.
Yes.
Because we don't want to get them 6 months in jail for this little thing.
Yes.
We want to get them doing something bad,
Yeah.
you know.
But that that was like my
So
main,
you're right about that.
yes, and that was my main thing. I was like, dude, not everything's for you, Um,
Yeah, swing home, Spider-Man.
yes, it's like, dude, you know, you have this your girlfriend now here dressed as a wife. You know, it's like maybe you should, you know, maybe you should just, you know, stay home. Why are you like trying? Like you hear some sirens. It's like you're like seem too eager to go. Like just chill out. The police can handle this. Like as long as the villains know, as long as the evil guys know that Spider-Man's still an entity, because like we know that in the movie we saw that crime like went up when he retired. Like there was something there was like a bunch of crime, but it's like, dude, you don't like as long as they know you're out there, they're not gonna be doing that much crime. Just let the police handle some of it. So I wish they would have
Yeah.
just kind of like also hinted at that. I wish that they would have, you know, it would have been a scene where he hears some sirens and he's like, you know, they can, you know, the guys in blue, they can take this one. But alas, what can you
Yeah. Yeah. One thing I wanted to bring up is, you know, I think there's a reason that we gravitate, because again, I don't even think this is really debatable. Like the most famous superheroes and the superheroes that people gravitate toward and keep coming back to, Spider-Man and Batman.
Yeah.
Is there any argument against that?
Well, the only argument that you will get is like
You can't even deny that.
the only thing that somebody might say is that to this day the best selling one is Superman. So there's something about Superman, but yeah,
I guess, but it's like what
he's not as interesting as the
you
other
know.
two guys.
The James Gunn one, no one's really saying anything. I haven't seen it.
I haven't
But
seen it.
no
Nobody's
one's
really saying anything
spectacular
grand about it. Yeah,
Yeah,
and he doesn't
who's
have
really revisiting? No one's revisiting Man of
yeah,
Steel.
and he doesn't
No
have
one's revisiting
no.
Christopher Reeves.
He doesn't have like a
movies.
great. There's no great Superman movie like those.
No.
For all intents and purposes, like and just to speak flat out numbers, in terms of like numbers, like the three biggest comic book characters, like numbers wise, I think it's like in this order. I think it's like Superman, Spider-Man, and Batman, or something like that. It's like Superman's at the top one, and then I think Batman and Spider-Man are kind of interchangeable. Like which one I think has sold the most. It's funny that Superman's the number one. I think the issue with him is that a lot of his. I think he was the first one of those guys, and I think a lot of
Yeah.
his. So he had like a lot of time to kind of put up the numbers, and he was more popular for a long time at the beginning of this whole stuff. But I think the truth of the matter is that right now, in this day and age, it's Batman and Spider-Man. And Batman and
Yeah.
Spider-Man are the only superheroes, the only like standalone superheroes with standalone movies that are legitimately like great outside of being superhero movies. They're not great superhero movies, they're great films. Those are the
Exactly.
only two characters that have that. And funnily enough, Batman just kind of has it like even more than Spider-Man because now the new Batman movies with the
Robert
guy from the Planet of
Pattinson.
the Apes and Robert Pattinson. I mean, that first Batman movie was like really great. But yeah,
Yeah, and I wrote that down because you know, with Superman, I feel like Superman is like he's like Uncle Sam.
yeah,
He's like a symbol, but he's
yeah,
not really like, who gives a shit about him, you know? It's like he's just
yeah.
he's just like a statue. He's a monument.
He is.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like he's not really nobody. I don't know. I've never seen a great Superman film. I've never seen like I've never connected with a Superman storyline. You know,
no,
maybe that'll change with the James Gunn one. I doubt it, but maybe.
I doubt it. I mean, I can
Um,
speak for you with it. I mean, I think I'm speaking for you in saying that I doubt it.
yeah, yeah. No, dude. James Gunn, come on. But I wrote down, like, you know, because it's like that internal conflict is clear and simple. It's Spider-Man versus Peter Parker, hero versus being a regular guy. And I wrote down, like, this is why people gravitate toward neighborhood superheroes like Spider-Man and Batman more than godlike superheroes like Iron Man or Superman. Avengers had their run, but we always seem to be coming back to Spider-Man and Batman over the years, and this is why. Because you think about it, like, Michael Keaton had his run as Batman back in the 80s, you know?
Yeah,
Like Spider-Man, the early 2000s. And there was even Spider-Man movies back in like I think
yeah,
there was like a 1970s Spider-Man or
I think
something that
so.
nobody saw. But,
Yeah.
you know, they were trying to adapt these characters way before the others.
Mhm.
Because I can't relate to a guy like Tony Stark, you know?
Yeah.
The average guy can't relate to that guy.
Yeah.
Hulk, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Thor,
Yeah.
Fuck them.
And
Who cares? You know?
it's so funny that the MCU though still managed to make like a really successful like film empire off of those guys. You know,
Yeah.
off of Captain America and Hulk and Thor and Iron Man. You know, it's like okay. I mean, but they and Black Widow they managed somehow they really put it
Yeah.
together. You know,
Yeah.
which I mean, the best one of those was that first Iron Man and like the second Captain America movie. But again, those movies are just like okay movies. Like that's really the
Yeah.
best of those movies are. It's like oh, it's all right. The first Iron Man,
They're
that's kind of
fine.
cool, you know. So that's fine, you know. Whatever. John
Yep.
Favreau.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to send my show notes to myself here because my other
Do you
laptop's
have
about to
do you
die.
have like any major grievances against this movie? Like I'm gonna be
Yeah,
open. Like I don't have grievances about this movie. Like I thought of like some stuff, and even when I was like writing like I guess like I kind of like a maybe like a logical thing. I was like, oh fuck, I don't care. So I just didn't even bother. But I wanted like, how do you feel?
yeah. I mean, the movie's so great. It is a great film. You know, these are these don't really impact too much my enjoyment of the movie. But I will say, like, when I rewatched it this time, I was like, you know, this movie's flawed. There's some flaws with it. And it's never with character arcs, and it's not with anything thematic or any of those major things that people are like, this isn't working. It's all with like just little plot logic inconsistencies. There's some that are that are minor that I'm like whatever, but there's some that are like so goofy
Hmm.
and dumb that I'm kind of like this would have been an easy fix.
Hmm.
I'll go through them real quick.
Yeah.
I'm kind of mixed. After what you said, though, I think I would take this away. But I said it seems unnecessary for Spider-Man to show up to the fusion demonstration because it raises more questions, like how does Harry not deduce Peter as Spider-Man? But you seem to think he did.
Yeah.
So, and after you laid out your case, you've actually converted me on that. So,
Okay.
um, I won't really raise that as an issue now. Um, because I mean, I think like Peter could have unplugged the machine. You know, there could have been he could have used his Spidey strength in front of everybody, but he could have done something as Peter probably to make him still active in that scene
Yeah.
and not have that issue. But
Peter.
now that you said that, I actually don't have that issue anymore.
Peter.
You've fully converted me.
Peter.
Um, yeah,
Peter.
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 That's how I love in that first movie, dude. Uncle Ben's died. He's just like
Peter.
Peter.
Peter. Peter.
Jesus. Um. Doc, I wrote this is in my mixed section, so these are nitpicks. Doctor Octopus is pretty rough with Peter while not knowing he's Spider-Man. I gotta say, he's pretty
He's
rough
pretty
with
rough
that
with
guy.
him. He really is pretty
Throws a
rough.
car. He throws a car at him. He grabs him by the neck with his
Yeah.
metal claw
He
and then
throws him.
hurls him into a
Yeah.
brick
Brick
wall
wall.
at full force. It's like,
Yes.
you sure you don't know this guy's Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Because you're really
Just throwing him
like
around.
you want him to lead you to Spider-Man, but
Yeah.
you're really rough with
Trying to
this guy.
hospitalize. Trying to put this guy in a coma. I agree with you. Yeah.
It's like
Unnecessary force, Doc Ock.
yeah, it's like you want something out of this guy, but it's like there's no reason you wouldn't if this guy was a regular human being that you wouldn't put him in the hospital.
Yeah.
Kind of weird that he's got to save MJ again after the first movie.
Yeah.
So like I'll say this, I personally like I have no problem with necessarily the damsel in distress trope.
It doesn't
Like,
bother.
I
It
think
doesn't
you can
bother me
do
in this movie. I don't take that as it doesn't bother me.
yeah no, I don't have a problem with that trope. That trope is a storytelling. That's a storytelling trope that's been used throughout the ages, and it can be done well.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it in the first movie. I don't have a problem with it in the second.
It does
movie.
happen in the third one.
I don't
again,
even have
though.
a problem with it in the third movie.
Yeah.
But all together, when it's like in Spider-Man 1, we gotta save Mary Jane. Spider-Man 2, we gotta save Mary Jane. Spider-Man 3,
we gotta save Mary Jane.
it's like,
yeah.
okay, how many times do we have to save Mary Jane? It's like they could have found something different to do in this one.
Yes.
It's more it's not the trope that bothers me, it's the repetition of it.
Yeah.
You know, and again, the damsel in distress trope does not bother me. It can be done poorly. You know, like I think back, the one that sticks out to me is like Sleeping Beauty, that old Disney movie
Yeah.
that we all saw when we were kids. Sleeping Beauty, that Disney princess, she does nothing in that movie. She literally does nothing in that movie. She pricks her finger on something, falls asleep, and the prince has to do everything, and then reawakens her.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not a damsel in distress like sexism issue. That is a what do you call it? A passive protagonist issue.
Yes.
Right? But the way these movies handle the damsel in distress, it's like Mary Jane is still an active character within the context of like the human world.
Yes.
But you understand how, yes, Mary Jane, she's a regular person. She can't fight Green Goblin or
Right.
Doc Ock.
Right.
And that's what guys like Green Goblin and Doc Ock do in real life. Terrorists do it. They take hostages.
Yes.
It's what they do.
Yes.
You know? So it's not a problem. But I just think it's repetitive.
It is
in
repetitive.
these movies.
Yes.
So there's a bit of an issue there.
Yes.
Again, I put it in the mixed section because it's like whatever, but
Yeah.
it's a little repetitive.
I agree.
I did write too. It's like, why wouldn't Peter at least? I think everybody kind of has this issue, but it's like, why wouldn't Peter at least try to explain to Harry what happened when Harry unmasks him?
Yes.
You could have the scene end up the same way,
Yeah.
but just have him say like something like, Harry, I didn't kill your dad. Okay, we can talk about this later, but we really got to save MJ, and
Yes.
and the city's gonna blow
I agree
up.
with you.
You
Yes.
know?
That's another one where it's like, oh, that could have, like, it was one of those where it's like, this only didn't happen because the third movie needed to happen. But I
Yeah.
agree with you. Like, he should have said something. And it's funny that in the third movie, spoilers for those who haven't seen the third movie. It's funny that in the third movie, like like his butler tells Harry, like, he got killed by his own glider, you know. I mean, you remember this,
Yeah.
right? Like the butler is the one that tells Harry, like, you know, Harry, chill out. Like, your dad was kind of like a weirdo, and he was not himself. And
Your dad was Willem Dafoe.
yeah, and his own
Okay.
glider. You know, he's like, I cleaned his wounds. It was his own glider. It wasn't Peter that killed your dad. It was kind of an accident, it seems like.
Yeah.
But it's like the butler should have said that to Harry. You know, and that butler has
Yeah.
a scene in this movie. He has one small scene before Doc Ock comes to ask for the tritium. He has a scene where he just tells like, Master Osborn. No, he still goes like, Master Harry, I'm going home. And Harry goes like, oh, whatever, man. Whatever. You know, they have that scene in this movie. And when that happened in the movie, I was like, dude, just tell him now. You know, oh, because he said to Harry, he said, I'm going home. And Harry's like, oh, whatever. And then he says to Harry, like, your dad only obsessed about his work. You know, he just said that because he saw that Harry was like obsessing over Spider-Man. But it's like, dude, tell him now that his dad, that Spider-Man didn't kill him. Why are you gonna wait a whole movie, Mr. Butler, man? Why are you doing this?
But again, that's a third movie problem. The third movie created that problem.
The third movie did create that problem, not this movie.
Because at that point, we don't even know that the butler
knows. You know, yeah, the butler's just being cheeky. He's just being cheeky. He's just like, Harry, get over it, Harry. Get over it, Harry. Don't be obsessive over Spider-Man. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. But here's what I'll say about okay, so these like my actual negatives with this movie. I think like some of the internal conflict is a bit on the nose,
for sure,
as far as like not the internal conflict itself, but the way it's presented to the audience.
There's a little bit of telegraphing. There's a little bit of Peter talking to himself in this movie.
Yeah, it just feels like Raimi's bashing us over the head, especially during like the payphone scene where he's just like,
he says that after she
Mary
hangs up
Jane,
the phone.
I'm Spider-Man. You know, it's like, I got it.
Yeah, there's a bit of that, and again, there's a
lot of scenes like that in this movie.
Yeah, there's a handful of those scenes. There's a handful of like just Peter talking to himself scenes, like that scene where his neighbor comes to give him a cake and milk. Like before she opens the door, he's just talking to himself. So there's a little bit of that, just telegraphing, and it's like, and it's kind of sad that Raimi felt like he had to do that because he had done a lot of work in this movie that made it so he shouldn't have had to do that, but he did it anyway.
exactly, because it's like this movie is written besides those little moments. This movie is written like an Oscar winner. I
And
mean, it really
it
is like
is, yes,
this movie
like a
is like
classic, a timeless
makes me
classic.
want to go to the Academy and be
Yeah.
like, you guys have to accept superhero movies.
Yes.
But only be for movies like this. I mean,
Yes.
non-MCU movies.
Yeah. So it's a little. I mean, I don't hold that against this movie too much because it's only for my counting. There's only 2 of those scenes.
Yeah.
So I don't hold it against the movie too much, and it makes me feel like it's probably one of those kind of like test audiences things, where you know that it was one of those things where there was some like 3 dumbasses in a theater of 100 people. They were like, I didn't understand Peter's like issue, and they were like, I guess we have to do something about that. Like it feels like one of those compromises. So it's hard to be hard on Raimi when it's making this like studio film, but I do agree with you.
So true. It's a great point, dude. You
Three
are probably
people,
on
like
the
I don't
money
get
with that,
I don't
dude.
get this. I don't get this.
Yeah,
Sam
I don't
Raimi.
get what. Wait, so why can't Peter Parker just like be Spider-Man and Peter? I don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what's so
totally get it,
tragic
man.
about a movie like this, right? Like just kind of like a beautiful movie, so close to perfection, and it's like, but we have to
Yeah.
make concessions to the lowest common denominator. Like we have to.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
For the masses.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all the LCDs out there. But yeah.
Lowest common. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Real quick here. So on that same note, I'll just get this out of the way. Like again, the scene where Peter speaks to Uncle Ben, it's melodrama.
It is
Like,
melodrama. It's not great. That kind of
didn't need
ghost
that.
the car scene.
Yeah, again, it's like an on the nose,
It
like
is.
Uncle Ben represents. It was too much. All you had to do was show him sitting there and being like, fuck it, I don't want to be Spider-Man. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all you needed.
Yeah, it didn't need to play out the way that it did.
Yeah. The dialogue scene where he says to MJ, like, oh, he's holding up that wall and he's like, if we die here, I just want you to know. And she says, like, you do love me?
Yeah.
And he's like,
yes,
I do.
Yeah.
And that's clunky, man. They could have done better with
They could have done better with that. I get
clunky.
this scene. I actually do like that exchange. Like, it didn't bother me, but I do get exactly where you're coming from because it could have been better.
Yeah, it's just clunky dialogue, man.
Yeah.
And then finally, this is like one like just very plot level critique that I have, but it's just like, what?
Mm-hmm.
And it's Doc Ock needs money. How the hell is he going to spend it?
Yes.
Like, does he have a money laundering operation we don't know
he
about?
Dude, he has an eBay account. He has to order a bunch of shit.
What?
But like you said, like how is he going to spend that money? Yeah. It's funny.
He orders crates full of the shit. He orders crates, and they deliver it to his secret villain lair.
Like,
dude,
and the way to fix this, would have been for him to either give the money to Harry or just to ask Harry outright to do all those things, because he asks Harry for the tritium anyway. So it's like, if you're it would have fixed that element of the movie of like, how is this guy? How is he using this money, and how is he doing any of this? Like, it would have explained it away if it was just like, oh, he's just getting Harry to do it, But yeah, it just kind of exists in the movie.
Well, and here's the thing, dude. I know you needed because again, the bank scene serves a purpose of him having an interaction with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
You want him to have a fight with Spider-Man, and then he takes Aunt May hostage. I guess I don't know how you get Aunt May hostage through here, but it's like, why wouldn't he just go? Because that makes no sense. You don't steal bank money and buy things with it, and then have them deliver the shit to your secret villain wreckage island.
Yeah,
like that just doesn't make any sense. It's like, you just should have had a scene where he shows up to some industrial place and steals the equipment himself, and Spider-Man stops him, and you have more or less the same scene.
Yeah,
maybe Aunt May's next door. I don't know.
Yeah,
doing her laundry.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I had that exact same thought, and then I was like, that is actually the thing in the movie where I was like writing that down, and then I was like, fuck it. I was like, I'm not gonna bother. I'm not gonna bother. And then I just let it go. But I do
Yeah, because
agree with you.
it's purely one of those things that it's like this is just a plot critique. This
Yes.
doesn't because the big problems with stories are generally like a theme and
And this
character
movie doesn't really have those.
problems.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't have any flaws
No.
as far as theme and character goes.
It does
Like
have
none of those
some
things I
plot
just listed, I
flaws.
think are outright. Yeah, but plot flaws, like that's a big plot flaw.
Yeah.
And plot flaws, it's like your mileage may vary with plot flaws. Like some people, myself included, I look at something like The Dark Knight and people are like, well, there's no way the Joker could have known all this. It's like, dude, I didn't even notice. I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Fucking, what? He couldn't time the fact that some cops were going to show up to this place at this time?
Yeah.
It's fine.
Um,
Whatever.
Let me see. So now that we've gone over
That's it
this,
for me, though.
now that we've gone over this movie, before we move on and we at least cover our recaps a little bit before ending our first show of the second half of the season, I want to ask you, and this is going to be like a very kind of small version of this, but how many Oscars does this movie win? It did win.
Spider-Man 2?
Yes.
I'm going to say like 1 for visual effects.
Okay, so it did win one. Okay, and it was nominated for 3 actually. So let me see if you can guess how many, like which one it was, or if you hold on to the one that you said, because the one that you said is one of them. So it was nominated for visual effect. It was nominated for sound editing and for sound mixing.
I knew, yeah. It's always the technical
The
ones.
classic, like the classic, this kind of
Yeah.
movie, like special effects movie. It was nominated for those.
Yeah, they're like, we can't give a sci-fi or horror movie a real nomination. We got to nominate it for something technical, you know? Like Godzilla -1, that movie doesn't have stellar visual effects, but they were like, well, this is a great film, but we can't nominate Godzilla for an actual award, so let's just give it a visual effects win. But it's like that movie doesn't have that great of visual effects. It's whatever. They're fine. But it's just a great film. You know? In the words of Mr. Plinkett, you get it?
Yeah. So, but no, it did win. It was just visual effects. Like you were like right on the money right away. It won best visual effects. Um, and it was like the 2005 Oscars, for which I think the big movie was like $1 billion baby, $1 million baby. That movie, that Clint Eastwood movie, that was like the big movie for that Oscar season. And this one just, I mean, it was what it was. It should have been nominated for a bunch of stuff though. Like I mean, I love this movie, but that's what it is. That's what it was, and that is an hour and 40 minutes of Spider-Man.
That's like the longest we've ever talked about a movie on this podcast.
Yeah, I think so, and I think that, funnily enough, actually, I think Oppenheimer might be a contender because I think we talked about Oppenheimer like forever.
Yeah, that's true.
But I'll have to go and see how long that was. But I think this movie earned it. That being said, what do you think we maybe go over our recaps a little bit and then call this show it?
Yeah, everybody say hi to Oxford. He's Jack's replacement. Say hi, Oxford.
He's like yawning. He's like, what is this? He's like, what is going on?
Maybe the audience hears him sniffing the microphone. Okay, down you go, buddy. I'll put you down now. He was like waiting for me right outside the door.
Really? He wants to play, doesn't he? He wants some attention.
Okay, bud. Let's get you down. There you go, buddy. Oh, yeah. He's a good boy. So I'll go into my recap here.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm pretty messed up after drinking some bourbon here. You can't already tell. I don't know. My girlfriend says I'm a really normal drunk. Like whenever we go out to clubs or anything, she's like, "Oh," I'll be like, "Man, I got messed up
you're
last
holding
night."
it. I mean,
you seemed really normal to me.
Yeah, no, you're coming across as just the same. You're coming across as the same Jake. This is not like
the same asshole.
Yeah, this is not like a different version of you. This kind of just shows like you.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
Maybe
good.
we haven't hit the threshold of bourbon yet.
Yeah. So okay. So I saw Weapons last night.
Yes.
Zach Cregger, um, the guy who directed Barbarian.
I'm
I
mixed,
gotta say,
mixed on
man,
Barbarian.
what'd you say?
Said obviously, as you know, I'm mixed on Barbarian. I think we talked. Obviously, we had an episode about it, so I don't think we need to talk about that too much.
Yeah, I'm mixed on Barbarian too, and I actually rewatched Barbarian.
I
I
saw
think
that you
last
like gave it
week.
like I saw that it went up by like a star.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
so here's my thing on Barbarian.
Oh
Like,
shit! By the
I
way,
think the
what did you
first.
rate Spider-Man? Like, what was your rating?
Oh yes, what Spider-Man 2?
Yeah,
Movie of the week? Oh, 9 out of 10. It's always been a 9 out of
nine out
10
of
for
10.
me.
Yeah, it went up from an
Yeah.
8 to a 9 for me. I had it at an 8. Now it's a 9 for sure.
Oh, I'm surprised you had it at an 8.
Yeah, I
That's
don't know why I
crazy,
was
man.
doing that to that poor movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I gotta say too, dude. I just gotta say this too. Like those Into the Spider-Verse movies, people act like those are like the bee's knees,
They're
the
just
fucking
okay.
shit.
They're alright.
They're fine. They're whatever, dude. I put them on like this a similar level as the Tom Holland movies.
Like
I mean, they're better,
they're better. We made an
but
episode like we did an episode on the second one, and I mean, if you
yeah,
listen to that, listener, you know that I think both you and I are just kind of like that's fine, you know. And I
yeah.
have to rewatch the first one because I don't know if I overrated that movie, or the movie's really like really great. I don't remember that movie anymore.
I definitely overrated the first movie. The first
I think I
Spider-Verse
might
movie.
have too.
Yeah, I rectified it too because saw it on Letterboxd and I had it at a 9.
I don't
And I was
want
like,
to like
dude,
I
this
have it
movie's
at a
like a
9.
7.
Yeah, I had it at whatever you had it. I don't want to rectify it because I just want to rewatch it and then see if I like I don't want to rectify it just based on my current thought of it. I want to rewatch it and then see how I feel. Because
Yeah,
I also had that like Spider-Man, the one with Toby, the live action one, as at a 9. And recently, just because I was at a hotel and they were playing it on the TV, I rewatched it, and then I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take this down. But sometimes there's certain movies where I'm certain that I'm gonna put it down, and there's certain movies where I'm just like, I need to maybe see this again. And with that Spider-Man movie, I think I need to. I'm sure that you had your. I'm sure that you knew that, but I'm not sure myself of my own feelings about it.
yeah, yeah. And I'm not biased toward like Tobey Maguire or anything.
I'm
Like
biased
I know a
towards
lot
it.
of people have a lot of nostalgia toward those movies.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's a little
it's a
bias
little
there.
biased. For me, it's a
Yeah,
little
I mean,
biased. Yeah,
yeah, there's a nostalgia for sure. But I mean, the first Spider-Man movie, the first one with the Green Goblin, I love Goblin, and I think that's a good movie. But I mean, it's a 7 out of 10 for
yeah. I
me.
think I
Like
actually have it at a
there's
6, and that
that's
was
a
after like
flawed
rewatching
movie.
it like with you guys like a year ago.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah,
right.
so
You know,
my
it
nostalgia and my
over.
love for Toby doesn't take me that far. Like I'm obviously like I'm able to see the film's like flaws. With Spider-Man 2, the thing with it
Exactly.
is that I just feel like that movie is just fucking excellent, even with the little flaws that it
Yeah,
has.
exactly. No,
Yeah,
I'm on the same page with you. Well, back to weapons. So yeah, like my girlfriend and I watched Barbarian last week. I've already seen Barbarian. That was her
Barbarian,
first time watching it. But you and I, Edward, saw
the
Barbarian in
movie theater.
theaters a couple years back.
Yeah,
And my thought on Barbarian is like the
with
first
my
half,
poor
maybe two
with my
thirds.
poor partner, she was not. She yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. It's like the first half slash two thirds maybe are really scary. Like it's scary. It's a scary movie, dude. But that last act just really shits the bed. It just gets really cringe and weird and just very cringe is the word I would use. Cringe. Um, yeah, like just watching this naked witch lady run around with her tits flopping around. I'm just like, this just isn't, and like trying to breastfeed characters,
yes,
victims. It's just like, it's just like it's just weird, man. It's not scary. It's weird. All right, and that movie just shits the bed in the third act. And for that reason, the movie's a 6. If the whole movie was as good as the first two acts, that movie would be like an 8 or a
I'm gonna keep
9,
the movie at a
honestly.
5. I'm not rating it higher than that.
Yeah, so my first time watching it, I gave it a 5.
Yeah.
My rewatch, I gave it a 6 because honestly, those cringe elements of it um, aren't as present as I remember. Like I think like
It
movies
was
are
dulled.
either
The
like
knife was dulled at this time for you.
For sure. Like
Yeah.
when you go and rewatch a movie that you had mixed feelings on, I feel like it can generally only go up because it's like you remember it worse, and then
Mhm.
when you watch it, you're like, oh, those shitty elements are actually not as present as I thought they were.
Mhm.
Um, and movies are like they're either like houses or like cars. You know, like houses appreciate in value, cars depreciate in value.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, and I think Barbarian, like a lot of movies where you think where your feelings are mixed on it, appreciate in value.
Mhm.
And Barbarian, it seems like one of those movies where it might appreciate. I don't think it would appreciate much further past like a 6, maybe a
Maybe a
7
7.
for
Yeah.
me. But so here's the thing about weapons too. So we go on, we move to weapons, and like, listen, I have been, and Edward knows this, and Edward's kind of on a similar page, like, because we saw X in theaters too.
Yes.
I am
And 28
somebody
years
who,
later.
yeah, 28 years later, we got to talk about
I
that.
actually talked
I
I
have
talked about
been,
that with my barber. How because he saw weapons. My barber saw weapons. He was talking to me about it today.
oh, really?
And like I was telling him, I was like, man, I was like, every horror movie I've gone to the movie theaters to see has ended up being a complete dud. You know, I told him I
Yeah,
was like, I was like, I'm stopping. I'm not watching horror movies in theaters anymore because somehow.
yeah,
And I told him I was like, it's been years. Like even when we watched Us, the Jordan Peele movie in theaters, I was like, it's just been years of me just
yeah.
going to the movie theater at least like once a year to watch a horror movie, and it sucks. But yeah,
Dude, no, you're leading me into my point perfectly because it's like, dude, ever since Hereditary came out, I feel like I've been burned. Whether it's been theater or no theater,
hmm
like I saw Us in theaters.
yes, I was
Crap.
there.
I saw we saw Barbarian in theaters.
Yes, we saw X in theaters.
We saw X. X
Was
is
terrible.
terrible. Dude,
That's a
I don't
terrible movie. I
even,
get the movie like a 1 out of 10.
oh my god, dude. I can see, so let me name these real quick. Us, X,
hmm
Barbarian, Talk to Me, Bring Her Back. All these movies over the past few years that people have been like, "Oh my god, this is
Just
like the new
blowing
horror movie. It's
smoke up those
great. It's
movies.
scary.
Yeah.
It's like it's amazing." And then I go watch it and I feel I'm just burned because I'm like, "This sucks.
hmm
What are people talking about?"
hmm
Talk to Me is bad. Bring Her Back, terrible. Like Talk to Me was like, all right, I can see the appeal. Bring Her Back, I can kind of see the appeal. Dude, X? I don't even know what the appeal of that movie is. I'm lost. I'm at a loss with X.
Yeah,
X was
it was
terrible.
terrible.
That's the one out of all of these where I don't even know what people were on. I have no fucking clue what the appeal was. I was like, there is not even a good scene in this movie.
Yeah,
That was a shit bullshit movie.
yep.
But I'm saying this because I don't say this lightly. I went to see Weapons and I loved Weapons. Weapons was scary.
Nice.
Dude.
That's what my barber said.
Dude.
He was also like, "Oh, Weapons is good."
Dude. Weapons was fucking scary. I went to see it last night. My girlfriend and I went to see it.
hmm
And I walked out of there, dude, and I was driving home. And my girlfriend was gonna stick around, but she eventually she's got a big ass dog at her house. She's got to go back and take care of.
I suppose.
So I was gonna be home, and Jack's traveling. I'm home alone at night, and I was
Oh,
like
that's
driving
terrible.
home, and I'm like, dude, I don't want to be home alone tonight
Yeah,
because of this fucking movie.
gotta go. Just go hang
And
out
let
with
me
her and
tell
the
you,
dog.
dude, a few months ago, I went by myself to see Bring Her Back.
Mhm.
And I went home. I got out of that. I was like, whatever, dude. I'm fine. I
Yeah.
went home. I was like, whatever, dog. Fuck it, that sucked. Dude, I saw Weapons. I went home and I was like, dude, I double checked the locks on my doors, armed my fucking security system,
How I felt after
put
watching
the
The Wailing.
TV on,
Yeah,
so that it would look like someone was awake in the house and
yeah.
left lights on
It did
and
that to
went to
you,
bed.
didn't it? Oh my God, dude. No,
Dude,
I don't want to watch that movie.
Weapons was scary. I you know, it was scary and it was really well done too, dude. Like, just take like everything you liked about Barbarian, because it's the same director. Everything that was great about Barbarian and leave out most of the bad stuff. Like 90% of the bad stuff. And that's Weapons. I mean, it was fantastic. I loved it. Um, it reminded me a lot tonally and otherwise, but I don't want to say too much about the plot because I don't want to give away anything. It very much it's a mystery horror film, so it very much hinges on mystery aspects of it. And I know you and I were talking about the trailer back in May before we
Indeed.
did the mid-season finale,
Yeah,
and we thought it was going to be some like M. Night Shyamalan type shit.
we
It's
did
it's
think
not.
that.
It's great.
Really? All
Um,
right.
and
Go M Night.
because we were postulating about like why are those kids running
Yes, I
out of the
remember
house
that.
with their arms spread out or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
doing the Naruto
so
run.
right, the Naruto run, yeah. And it's like the tone of this movie is very similar to the Wes Craven horror movie, The People Under the Stairs from the 90s.
I
You
haven't
and I
seen.
watched that together, didn't we?
Did we watch that movie?
Yeah,
If I watched it, it should be on my letterbox. I'm gonna see if I watched
it's
it.
it's the one where the dudes they find out that there's like a cash stash or like treasure in this house, so they go in the house and it turns out the owners are psychopaths and they keep people in the house that are like starved and
Oh yeah, I
um
watched this. Holy crap.
yeah, and there's all those like secret passages through the house. It's
Well,
like a horror movie version of the
yeah, I
Goonies,
watched it. Well, let
basically.
me tell you something. A lot of the time when we watched movies, I was drunk. And so I don't remember them that well. Like I have a vague memory of this movie. You're describing it, but I think I was drinking the whole time we were watching. And you and I are always yapping. Like you and I were always like watching movies and like yeah, like talking all over them. So that I have like
Yeah,
a
that's true.
hazy memory of this movie.
The tone is there's plot elements that are similar too, but the tone is very similar where it's like it's not a horror comedy, but it's like it again Barbarians like this too. It's like a 60-40
Dude,
split.
we
So
apparently
like a
watched this
regular horror.
movie. We watched this movie on February 5th, 2020. I don't remember
Yeah.
this movie.
Okay, that sounds right.
Like there was a time
Yeah.
there was a time in my life, in everyone's life, where too much was going. Too much was going.
Yeah. That was right before the dark times,
Yeah,
dude.
the unspoken times, dude. The blip.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But the it's like a 60-40 split between comedy and horror where like you think of like a horror comedy, right? So like Evil Dead 2, that's like a 50-50 split where it's like this is a horror comedy. But then you have something like Barbarian or Weapons, which I thought Weapons was actually even more effective with it,
Mhm.
where it's a 60-40 split, where it's like
64.
60% horror
Okay.
and 40% comedy.
Okay. Interesting.
There maybe even less. It's maybe like a 75
That can be
25
very.
split.
I can see how that can contribute to kind of like a very terrifying sense within you when you leave the theater, because I guess the movie's constantly disarming you.
It is very much so. Like
Hmm.
the movie is very scary, but it constantly it gives you just the right amount. It like microdoses you on comedy.
Hmm.
So it's like you said it perfectly. It disarms you.
Hmm.
There's this little comedic relief, and then it comes back with something really dark and really disturbing. And the movie was also really scary on different levels.
Feels like that was
too.
what
Like
Halloween was trying to do too when we watched it.
yeah, and
Just
it
didn't work.
fails.
Yeah.
It failed. Weapons, it's scary on different levels too. So it's scary on like the generic like what most people think of when they say like that was scary, they mean creepy,
Hmm.
shadows, things in the dark, faces in the dark, suspense, creepy is generally what people mean when they say that movie was scary. But then
Terror.
there's other levels of scary too terror, exactly.
Yeah.
But then there's other levels too where it's like there's the disturbing scary. So there's like a lot of psychological
Yes.
there's things that are psychologically disturbing in this movie too. And then there's gore, there's disturbing like gore sequences in this movie too, like Barbarian, but even more effective.
Mm-hmm.
So it's scary on almost every level,
Hmm.
honestly. It's a bit, there's some flaws with this movie, but they're few and far between. And at the end of the day, I was thinking of this today, like, you know, you look back at classic horror films, like we're so spoiled nowadays, and I feel like our expectations, audience expectations, are higher than they've ever been in the 2020s and in a lot of ways. And we think of horror as like, oh my God, horror is a dying genre, blah, blah, blah. No, not really. Horror has always been, like any other genre, a flawed genre where every few years you get a great one, and then you just got to wade through the muck for 3 to 5 more years of mediocre to crap horror movies. It's always been like that. It has always been like that. It's not going to change. The horror genre isn't dying. There have been decades that have been better than others, right? The 2000s was a particularly bad decade for horror movies, I would say.
Yes.
But you look back at classic horror films, dude, and you know, you got like your Oscar winners, Exorcist, Jaws, Silence of the Lambs. Okay, those are great films. Halloween, John Carpenter, great film. But you look at a lot of the horror classics, they're flawed. They're flawed. They're great, but they're flawed. The original Nightmare on Elm Street, flawed movie.
Yeah.
It's fantastic, but it's flawed.
Yes.
You know?
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. I think Friday the 13th's bad,
yes,
honestly.
The first one's pretty bad.
It's bad. You know, you could name all sorts of them. They have their flaws, right? And this movie has flaws. It did not detract from my enjoyment of it. It was awesome. And if I could leave everybody with one thing, it would be this. As I said, I have been burned by horror movies for the past like 5-6 years since Hereditary came out, where it's like I go and watch these horror movies, whether it's X, Talk to Me, Us, Bring Her Back, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, this is whatever. I don't get the hype.
Mm-hmm.
Weapons, that's why I don't say lightly. Weapons was great. And dude, it's scary.
So now I can see, or now you know why Jordan Peele apparently like fired whatever manager of his, like lost him a bidding war for this script.
Oh yeah,
I mentioned
yeah.
Like, Jordan Peele apparently like wanted, like he like apparently Jordan Peele like needed this, and he lost it, and he like fired like the person he put in charge of getting this. Because I don't think his intention necessarily was to take it from Zach Cregger. I think Jordan Peele just wanted to be the person who produced the movie, and to basically be able to put like Jordan Peele on it, and he failed. And he did not get it. He was so mad.
Well, he missed a big payday too, because I think this movie had a single-digit millions budget.
Yes.
It had a 5-figure budget, but last time I checked was last night. It grossed 140 million.
Wow! I hope that Zach Cregger had some kind of like back end deal with this movie where he made a bunch of money.
Yeah.
I hope he had I hope that the reason for why there was such a big bidding war and that Jordan Peele lost and everything is because Zach Cregger got to make a big pocket out of this. I hope he did.
Yeah. Let me see. Weapons box office. Let me see. Worldwide, 167 million.
Wow.
Yeah. And you know what? I looked up. I was curious what the influences were because I was like, "This is really." Again. I'm not even going to say.
I think I read up on them. I think I saw like an interview about that. But go ahead.
Magnolia was like a big influence for this movie.
Magnolia, Paul Thomas Anderson, and Prisoners, right?
Yeah,
Prisoners by Denis Villeneuve. I saw that, bro. And I was like, wow. Like when I saw that
Yeah.
for whatever reason, Prisoners. I have a mint in my mouth for anybody wondering why I'm saying some words funny. A cough drop. I was wondering. I was like, for whatever reason, like I was like, I have to watch this movie because for whatever reason, this guy said that Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia and Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners are two of his biggest inspirations for this movie. I was like, I gotta watch this.
Yeah.
Yes, especially because that I adore both of those movies, so I gotta watch
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, the prisoners thing, that's obvious. It's about missing kids,
Yes.
I'm not even going to say what I think some of the other influences were because, again, it's a mystery horror film, so a lot of it hinges on mystery. So
Yeah.
I'm not even going to say anything about the plot. There's so many things I want to say about the movie
Yeah.
and descriptors I want to give the
I'll
movie,
watch
but
it.
it's going to
And
give
maybe
things away,
I'll
and
watch
I
it.
don't even want to do it.
I hold on to if possible.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch this in the movie theaters. So for me to watch this, it's gonna have to go on streaming. So if you could hold on to your thoughts
Yeah.
for like a couple of months.
Oh yeah, I will.
Then we'll talk about
no
it.
problem, dude.
Because I'm not gonna watch
I would
this.
go see it in theaters.
I'm not gonna go
dude.
watch
I
this in
would
theaters
challenge
because
you.
for me, I would have to just do it on my own. I don't want to, and I'm not gonna my girlfriend. I'm not gonna make her sit through this movie. She's not a horror person. So I'm just gonna have to wait. It's gonna have to wait the movie's gonna be there. I'm gonna watch it when it comes out digital.
Man, I'll tell you something, dude. My girlfriend and I, we saw it in not only in theaters, we saw RPX. Dude, it is like in the scariest scenes too. It's like you're just trapped,
Really?
man. Because that screen, when you're watching an RPX, it's like that screen takes up your entire vision.
Yeah.
It's almost like VR.
Yeah. That's fascinating.
Where it's like that screen is your entire field of vision.
Yeah.
You're just fucking trapped there, dude.
Yeah. Well, that sounds awesome.
And it was like, oh my God. I mean, it was like it's so funny too, because you get mixed emotions as a horror fan. Because when I was in there, I'm like so fucking. I was during certain scenes, I was so uncomfortable and so freaked out. I was like, God damn it, oh God, I hate this. But then there was that other part of me that was like, dude, this is what you wanted. You've been pissed off by all these shitty horror films. This is what you wanted, right?
Yeah.
So it was like,
I
was like, God damn it, I did.
Yeah.
I was like, damn it, I did want this. I do want this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, fuck, dude, I'm so freaked out.
I will most likely be going to go watch a movie in the movie theaters this weekend, and it's gonna be Spider-Man. Weapons.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about weapons at some point soon, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
What's the movie for next week, sir?
Well, I thought because this has been a season 3 of Film Tangents, folks, has been very mainstream.
Yeah, it's been very mainstream.
We've been doing a lot of big blockbuster movies.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing a lot of, big, well-known classics like Jaws, and we've been doing a lot of the new hot movies like Nosferatu and Substance.
Yeah, we've had a very pop-friendly season.
Yeah, and re-releases like Revenge of the Sith and Spider-Man 2. It's been like you said, pop-friendly season. So, damn it, I'm gonna make us eat our vegetables.
Oh, we're going back to Film Tangents season 1, huh? Watching obscure movie.
We're going to be watching an obscure movie. And I thought, what better to do? I wanted to do something else to kind of cap off the summertime. We did Jaws, so I wanted to do another semi-summery movie, even though this movie, I guess, is kind of wintry, but it's an aquatic movie.
It's Life Aquatic of Steve Zissou by Wes Anderson.
No. No. Wes Anderson's not allowed on Film Tangents.
Not anymore.
We're going with the OG Jaws ripoff.
Whoa.
Orca.
Oh, all right.
Next week.
That's exciting. I've never seen that movie. I've heard about it. Yeah.
The cult classic, the original. We had many Jaws ripoffs. We had Orca. We had Grizzly.
Mm-hmm.
We had multiple shark movies.
What year is this movie
I
from?
think The White Buffalo was a Jaws cash in. With Charles Bronson. Alien was a Jaws cash in, right?
This is a movie from
But
1977, right?
exactly.
With like a terrible Rotten Tomatoes rating.
I have actually seen it years ago. I barely remember it.
Yeah.
Very intriguing plot. I'm interested to see what I think revisiting it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny
But
because I think the last episode of the mid-season finale, we were making a big deal out of you talking about how, what is it, like orcas stop sharks from eating something, or what is it?
oh yeah, dude.
The
On the last episode,
the whales stop orcas from eating.
humpback whales.
Yes.
They stop. They move people away from sharks. Yeah, dude.
Yes. Yeah. So we've had a kind of like a big whale thing going on. I even
Yeah,
I think I
the
sent
big
you like
Brendan Fraser thing going on.
I
Yeah.
even sent you like I think like a news article, right, about how they were doing that like even more than ever this time of the year for whatever reason, like just like
Yeah, isn't that weird?
moving those manatees around, not letting so they don't get killed.
That's adorable, dude. Just whales protecting things.
Yeah, that's
That's cute.
awesome.
That gives me hope for mammals. It gives me hope for mammals.
Yeah,
dude.
just for mammals, really.
Yeah, mammals.
But yeah, next week.
That's next week, everybody. We're back to season 1 of Film Tangents, everybody. Back to season 1. Cult films and film nerd shit. All you people who like popular movies, just gotta suck it up.
Look, while
It's
you're
Orca next week.
while you're making us and the audience watch Orca, I'm gonna keep racking up like the Edward's the best points. Next, I'm gonna make us watch like another one of those like really like crowd pleasers. Everybody's gonna be like, Edward's picks are always the best. Spider-Man too.
We like when. Can you let Edward pick every movie for the show?
Every episode is gonna be an Edward episode. Join the subreddit. Vote Jake off the show. We should just get you off the show completely, dude. It should just be me, Oxford, and Kermit the Frog doing this show.
Get your bloody life in order. Start watching cult films.
Next time on Film Tangents.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Oh, man.